question for you. I just want to intervene real quick because I didn't want to layer too much because I want to get Ronin's opinion on Passport Dog. Uh, I just want to address this with Jay saying I'm a sex pack, not a passport, bro. Um, do you think that there should be certain guidelines for sex packs? Because I was thinking about coming up with a map area for Colombia that shows the red zones, but majority of the red zones are usually where the pros are. So that's what mostly sex packs go to in those areas. So what do you think would be your advice for the sex packs out there, the ones that are there for the play for play experience? Like what do you think are some things that, and this is a question for all you guys out there, what do you guys think is a good safety measures of how they can protect themselves from getting got or being disappeared or being scoped or any of that stuff? I mean, do you guys have any thoughts or suggestions?
Who was that to directly?
Anybody. It is a question for anybody.
I mean, it just depends on how you move. If you're moving in a group or if you're moving by yourself. You know what I mean? If you're moving in a group, then obviously your buddy system works best. You know, military wise, man, we traveled in packs. You know, if one guy got a girl, bro, we had a hotel room right next to that guy. When he left, we left. We never leave anybody alone, and we're military trained killers, and we won't do that shit. It only takes you a second to get drugged. I don't give a fuck how big you are. You're going down.
That's fact. That's facts.
So that shit did not matter. We had a buddy system. When you traveled, you had somebody you could rely on when you went out in town. You were already briefed. You knew the culture. You knew the different dangers that were out there in any port we hit. So you already had that extra sense of alertness. Now, here's the problem. Civilians, when they go on vacation, they're on vacation. They're not going to be on alert. They're supposed to be able to unwind. They on alert in America because they got so much shit going on here. They go overseas. They think, oh, I'm on vacation. I get to do a whole bunch of lollygagging around. I don't have to watch my back as much. Blah, blah. Bullshit. Yes, you do.
Facts. That's
you have a blue passport. You're an American. Facts. You're a gringo. They already know you got money. You are a fucking target the minute you fucking land.
I've been said that a long time ago. What's your take on it?
You don't get to relax like that.
Anybody else want to chime in? Oh, anybody else want to piggyback or chime in on that?
Passport blueprint. Go ahead.
Let me throw something else in. There's a video about these girls got tomatoes thrown at them in Morocco. Now, here's something I want to throw
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and this was discussed on one of the lives last night. I think it was BMT that talked about it. 2019, there was 2 female hikers that were raped and beheaded.
Oh, wow.
While in Morocco in 2019. They were beheaded by Al-Qaeda operatives. So there are Al-Qaeda operatives in Morocco and some of these other countries in Africa. And that's something that a lot of people don't take in consideration because they think, oh, it's a girls' trip. Let's go and just do this. It's a lot of dangers out there in the world. And people don't realize that, and people just ignore it. And just piggybacking off what Ronin said, we in the military, we are aware of these things because these are things we're talked about, OPSEC and stuff like that, situational awareness and things like that. Okay, you are a target because you are an American, period. Whether you're down in Rio or you're down in Medellin, it doesn't matter. Danger is danger. You have to do your research about what's going on in these places. And unfortunately, there are some dangers in some of these lovely countries that you guys go to. Even when I went to Jordan, I had to be a little bit cautious because of things going over there. You'd never think something would go on in Jordan because the historical sites and stuff, but they have problems too. And a lot of guys ignore it because then when they go down to, like, say, Medellin or Cartagena, all they're thinking about is, getting with the pros and stuff like that. You're dealing with a black marketed, underground, nasty stuff that, okay, here's an American gringo. Let's see what we can do with him. And then on top of that, you have a law enforcement system that doesn't care down in Colombia. They don't put a lot of effort in protecting you. It's very reactive, but not proactive. So those are things you got to keep in consideration. Now, as far as this young man, I'm hoping that he just fell off of social media and he's just doing something, because that's what I'm kind of thinking what happened. For him, everybody to notice that he's been missing and everybody's doing this tension right now. His last video was 9 months ago. To me, it sounds like he may have just fell off, but I hope he's okay. And if he's hearing this, just put a message out saying that you're okay, everything's good. But you walking around in these countries, especially these countries, a lot of you guys, these are dangerous places, man. I don't care if you're from what hood and what United States city. You're in someone else's backyard.
Absolutely.
This is, you don't have that swag and all this other stuff that you can get by in some of these places, man, because bottom line, they see you as an American, period. Money. You're just an ATM machine to them. And anytime they want to take advantage of you, they will. No ifs, ands, or buts. So that's and another quick thing I want to mention before I land my plane. All you guys that complaining about these OGs giving you advice and stuff, a lot of us are ex-military. We know how to travel. We're just extending it to you to save your butt so you can go home to mom and dad. Anytime you don't want it, we'll be more than happy not to give it to you, and you can find out the hard way.
Absolutely.
But us, we give you that advice because we care about you. Anytime you don't want us to care about you, not a problem.
Absolutely. I actually have the utmost respect for the veterans because that's where I got my game from. I was taught from the veterans who've been out there overseas. They're the ones that plugged me in. And some people look up to me and they say, "Oh, you've been here, you've been there." Yeah, but I had to learn from someone too. I met military people on bases, especially when I was in Malta in the Mediterranean Sea over there at the ships, and they've given me the 411. So there's a lot you can learn from ex-vets, and I don't think the vets really get much credit where credit's due. Those are the original boots on sands, the original travelers. They're the ancient history. They're like dinosaurs of the travel community. So those are the guys that if they're gonna give you the 411, it's them for sure.
That's the guy that gave me Navy guy. Showed me how to move out there when I was in Bogota when Mara had left and Cash had left, and I was pretty much out there solo. You know what I'm saying? The older white cat. And he's the one that told me, be discreet, be exclusive, and move like a submarine. That's exactly what he told me.
Yeah,
that's exactly what he told me, man.
I like that.
As far as the sex pets, man, go somewhere where you go somewhere where you go to fucking Amsterdam. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna go, like if you in Medellin and you're a sex pet, bro, like go in a facility where you safe. You know what I mean? I don't know what else to me, I think that would be the safest play. I guess like go into one of them facilities where boom, it goes down in this facility. You're gonna be safe while you in here and do your thing there, but the guys, they want to have a girlfriend experience. They want to treat this motherfucking bro. They want to treat her like their girlfriend, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Can't do it.
She's a tool. She's like a hammer, man. These dudes is walking around the mall with the hammer. They taking the hammer out to eat with them. They going to the bowling alley with the hammer. Like, she's a tool, man. You know what I'm saying? So go somewhere where it's legit.
Just to piggyback off of that player, think about this. She's a tool for you and for the cartel or whoever she's working with. The longer you keep her in your environment, the more intel she gets to rob you or to get you got.
Right.
The more she gets to see the type of stuff you have, where you're placing it, all that. The longer you let her stay in your place, the more information she gathers. That's why these guys get robbed so clean. They let these chicas stay in those places for so long. They know exactly where these dudes are moving shit. You think these chicks are stupid? They're not.
You know what? I just want to piggyback what you said. Absolutely. If I was in an expat, I don't think I would want to be a sex pack, because you got to separate it. You can't be a sex pack and an expat, because the moment if you're an expat out there and you want a sex pack, you're inviting so many people to your place of residence, and then what's gonna happen? That word's gonna get out that this motherfucker lives here. He got an iPhone. He got an Apple. He got this. He got that. And that's how you get got. You don't see foreigners out there messing around with the streets. You don't see that. And if they do, guess what? They're gonna get a hotel. They go smash it out, and then they go back to their place of residence, be with their wife or their girl, whoever in that area. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I got a homeboy. One of my dudes I always talk to y'all about. I always say, he's the champion of P4P. That's what he would do. He would have a hotel and he would have an Airbnb. When he would play, he'd take them to the hotel.
And then on top of that, when you look at it, look at the type of people they're dealing with. They're not dealing with the 1%ers or even the top 20%ers or something. You're dealing with lower class people. Not that is disrespectful. I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way, but some of these lower class people just got this criminal and stuff like that, criminal mentality and stuff like that. So when you start messing with these people, that dark underworld of prostitution and stuff like that, that's criminality, man. And then you're going to deal with whatever comes with it. And these chicas, they will scope and play you out. They ain't got no real interest in you. They got real interest in what you have. Because they rather be with their own men because they have a commonality with them and an association. You're just a lick. That's all it is, man.
And I just want to also piggyback off the scammers, man, because I even talked about I've been a victim of scamming. They've gotten a lot smarter. Okay. The scamming with foreign people, especially with the women, they've gotten a whole lot smarter. Even in DR, a lot of them can Photoshop and tell you they got a visa. I mean, it's happened, and they could be extorting and importing drugs from different areas, and you know what I mean. Like this stuff really happens, man. A lot of them will scam you to try to get money out of you. I mean, these things do happen, and I don't think a lot of people really touch on these type of things. The scamming is just, especially in 2025, has just gone off the roof with foreigners.
And I tell you something else is that guys who are just dating, man, need to seriously address the kind of women that they're trying to date. If you're sex batting, you should be honest with yourself. If you're sex batting, you should be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you're dating, right, you gotta date the women who are on the level. One of the things that you're gonna always hear these cats say, oh, well, this country, whatever country, 70% of the population only makes $600 a month. It's like, okay, right? I get it, right? You have identified the brokest people, right? And that's not a problem. Not saying that those people are bad people, not saying that they all have bad intentions, but they are financially strained, right? They're financially stressed, right? If you're gonna date, especially if you're a guy that's I'm not dating American women because they only want money from me, they all gold diggers, but you go out the country and you're dating these women and they're all broke. Clearly, if in your brain you've come to this percentage of 70% of the country makes this much, right? You've done your research and it says 70% of Albania only makes $600 a month. Okay, cool. Go tap into the 30%, right? But they're unwilling to tap into that 30% because that's going to take some work. That's not going to happen overnight. With me, the shit didn't happen overnight, bro. The shit did not happen overnight, right? But once you start tapping into that 30%, like anything else, like any dating in anywhere in the world, you're going to start to notice some things. And those things that you notice are going to help you. They're going to help you moving forward in your dating, right? But if all the women in wherever are broke, if 80% of them are broke, that leaves 20% that you can date from, right? But they want to date, but they're dating from this big pool of 80%. And I understand it's easier to date there. It's more fruitful, right? There's more there. But if you're really trying to date seriously, right? And I ain't saying that you got to get married. I ain't even saying you got to be in a relationship with just one female. You know, but go tap into the percent of the population that got their ish together, right? Because in every country, there's a population of people who have their ish together, and it's not as hard as people make it seem, right? People keep putting, I'm just gonna say, bro, they keep putting broads on a pedestal, right? Because of the way they look. You understand? So they shooting for the stars, but they can't even hit the bullseye at their own damn local gun range. And instead of taking accountability, they blame the stars. Well, man, the stars wasn't so far up there. I know I can hit them. Hey, yo, Andrew, man, I promise to God, man, if I had a space shuttle, man, I can hit that star, man. Zero in on mastering what you can do, and then gradually move up, right? Quit dealing with the bras that are broke. And if you're dealing with the bras that are broke, understand that there's some things that come along with dealing with a broad that is broke.
Yeah.
You understand? You can't be saying that you want to be this last thing, Drew. I'm gonna shut it down.
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
You can't be saying that you want to be the male provider. You want to be the breadwinner. Now you're dealing with a broad that's looking for you to be the male provider and the breadwinner. Right? But you're failing.
I think also a lot of the men are not really getting a clear understanding that the women over there, they don't take you seriously because you're visiting the country.
Right.
And I sort of noticed that too, even when you're dating. So if you're dating, you can't take it seriously. Until you cemented yourself and you stay there for a while and you're able to getting communication with the woman, you know what I mean? I just don't, from my experience, the women are not going to take you seriously because they think, and this is how they think, right? If you're there to just smash, and I was told this from a chick, if you're there to just smash, they're going to expect something out of it, like money, some sort of collateral, something that's worth it, because they don't want to feel like they're being used. So by them obtaining resources from you, they feel that they're not being used. They're getting something out of the ordeal instead of them giving themselves to you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think a lot of guys really understand the female play too, and you know, female game is different, man, everywhere, bro.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah, you definitely need to be full aware, man, of the females that run the play. You know what I mean? And if you're not going to be, if you're in these countries, you're in and out, right? You absolutely cannot be attempting to do it seriously. You know, if you're going back and forth to the same country, you can make that work. But if you're just in and out, you're sliding through every few months, yeah, man, you're not going to be taken seriously, and you shouldn't be trying to take anything seriously either, because they sure as hell ain't. They call it.
They see you all the time. These women talk with each other. They know who you are. They know that. Oh yeah, he was over here. Oh, he's in.
They got WhatsApp groups too.
Yeah, they talk with each other.
Yeah, I've seen dudes pictures in these WhatsApp groups.
Oh, these girls know each other, bro.
Yep. Yeah, they got a cheaper network, I think, right? Oh, hey, what's up?
Real quick.
Yeah, I'm here. I had to panel up real quick, man, because.
Yep. Let me answer this question real quick. Drew G just asked the question about what's the threat level at right now in Colombia. It's a level 3 in Colombia overall, and then there's a level 4 in Colombia Venezuela border and Raqqa Raqqa, that area
The
right there is
borderline.
close
I
to the
talked
border,
about
but
that
everything
earlier.
else is a level 3. So it says reconsider.
I mean, that's
reconsider. Okay.
Yeah.
I spoke about that
Okay.
earlier.
But go ahead, brother. I didn't interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just trying to chime in. I hope that brother's okay. I'm not trying to, poke any light of it or anything. I just want to know what's going on because I saw it when it came up on my feed. The notification, I was like, wow, what's going on with this guy? Because that's just some. I don't understand how many brothers are going over there, and I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah. I mean, hopefully he's okay. I mean, yeah, it's
I think it was a Passport Blueprint said this. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if it was Passport Blueprint or if it was Play with a Passport, or it might have been somebody else. But somebody said earlier that if you got to protect your drink, if you got to watch your back from girls, then maybe you shouldn't even be there.
Right.
What's the point? What's the point in putting yourself at risk if you know and people getting scope and people dying from this shit and people getting kidnapped and being extorted? Like, what's the point in being there?
Man,
there's so many good-looking girls everywhere, bro, that look just like Colombian women in other countries, though, too. So,
let
me say this real quick. It's not about going to Colombia. It's where you're staying. It's where you're going while you're in Colombia that makes it more dangerous.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
Philippines is extremely dangerous in certain areas. You think I'm sitting in that area right now? Hell no. I'm in BGC, Uptown.
Okay.
Up in a condo. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. I don't do those things. I don't hang out in dangerous places just to get my kicks and grins. For what? As you supposedly migrate in income, you should be wanting to do better for yourself and be in better situations. You dream about all these places you want to go. You dream about all these luxurious things you want to do. But then when you actually have the opportunity to do it, you go and cheap out. Stay in a dirt hotel that you barely paid $20 for a night just so you can get off on some chica. Well, you could have done that here in the United States.
Facts, 100%.
Yeah.
Hey, let me piggyback to Passport Blueprint. What he said earlier about those. I believe there were black chicks from Europe. They were visiting Morocco, right? And they got tomatoes thrown at them. People don't understand the context. You see what I'm saying? Because first of all, the girls were half naked, and they were in Morocco. So it's like to them, to the locals, it seemed like they were disrespecting the culture because when you go to those places, those Middle Eastern countries, Arab countries, you're supposed to be covered up as a girl. So the girls on the video, all of them had like bras. They were half naked, and that's why they were getting tomatoes thrown at them. For that reason. But then the internet, they twisted, made it seem like it was a racial thing when it wasn't, because they were kind of disrespecting the local culture. It's like you can't be going like places like that and be dressing like half naked without expecting some kind of consequences. You see what I'm saying?
Well, certain Muslim countries, you can be a little bit relaxed, but not in that sense. Like in Israel, I've seen girls with not Daisy Dukes, but they're short. They wear shorts and stuff.
Israel is not a Muslim. It's a Jewish country. So
I'm talking basically the
Yeah.
Palestinian side of it, the occupied Palestinian territory. They'll wear shorts, but they won't wear no halter top type of thing. They won't wear that. They'll keep it there classy and stuff like that and respectful. But when you go to other places like Morocco and stuff, like I've seen black female travelers go to Morocco and they'll dress a little bit more appropriately. Everybody knows, and you should know, basically the culture of Muslims when, because a lot of us grew up around Muslims, people, Islamic faith. You kind of get the idea of how they dress. So going and knowing how, you can't go to these Islamic countries and say you didn't know, or you don't know how to act because you've been around these people. All right. So let's cut the bull. So if you're going over there to an Islamic country and being mouthy and stuff like that, off the bat, you're wrong. And
Facts.
you can't say you didn't know that, because you know they're not going to tolerate that,
Facts. That's
right?
100%.
We've
Yeah.
been around these people a lot, okay? Just from just being in our own neighborhoods and stuff like that, or even if you went to school and studied, because a lot of women take liberal arts, and I know part of the liberal arts curriculum, you're going to know something about North Africa or the Middle East, and you're going to know a little bit about those cultures and stuff like that, especially some of them going for those women's study degrees. You definitely going to know about that.
Yep.
You know, the ones that still paying off their student loans for it.
Oh,
50K in student loans. Let me add on to that. Actually, there was a sister from Houston that got into trouble in Dubai because she was arguing with this local dude. She got into a car accident with him, and because she was renting a car, but she was arguing with a local Dubai dude, like literally cussing him out. Like like she would be in Houston or somewhere in the States cussing a dude out. Bro, guess what they did? The cops came. They arrested her. She spent 3 months in jail waiting for a trial. Like literally, they had to petition for her to get out that jail because it's just it goes just supposed to show you it's like in these countries like you gotta be on your best behavior. It's unfortunate it happened to her, but she thought she was in the States trying to talk down to this local dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and a lot of those Arab countries, the men are men, women are women. That's just how it grows. So I
hey,
think that a lot of American people don't understand that. They mistaken that for like, what do you call it? When you're chauvinistic, they think, oh, a man. So a lot of times when these guys that come from these Arab countries come to the West, they're shocked because they see women in more control than men are, and then they talk down to these guys. They don't even know. Like so what happens? Like let's say in the U.S. You see a lot of this feminism, a lot
no,
of
but
this.
I wanted to put something out there. I think that one that you're talking about, Buck.
Yeah.
Rob, go ahead, Rob. Go.
No, I was just telling because I'm of that background, right? So what tends to
Oh no,
happen is
I was going to say. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, I was
What
just going to say
happened?
what tends to happen is in those societies, a man's a man, a woman's a woman. There is no in betweens. There is no, hey, I'm call me he, she, her. That shit doesn't fly there. You know what I mean? So it's just
Yeah.
like it's just in black and white, and there's a gray area. So what happens is they have these laws. I think it was a Filipino worker she was yelling at, but it still applies. Those laws apply to everyone, employee or non-employee in the United Arab Emirates. There's 22 Arab countries. Not all of them are the same. A lot of the Gulf Arab countries are the safest places on the planet. I think the UAE was rated #1. You guys notice? If
Yeah.
you leave your bag in the UAE, nobody's gonna steal it. I mean, it's incredible. It's like really freaking safe. Nothing happens. It's crazy. But what happened is they thought, okay, you know what? Bling bling. The UAE's got 7-star hotels,
Mm-hmm.
really, top-notch facilities. They do. But the problem is they don't accept like that really low mentality, low energy, low
Mm-hmm.
mentality, where you yell,
Mm-hmm.
you act ghetto. They don't roll with that. They were gonna give her a
Yep.
couple of years in prison. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's
And
like
it's
that in
just
Africa as well, right? African countries roll that way as well.
yeah, and it's like, one of my bucket lists is like I want to visit the Middle East. I want to visit like Iran and all that, and I know a pretty good idea how to behave, what to not talk. Like for example, if I go to Iran, I'm not going to be talking about politics, U.S. politics. You see what I'm saying? It's like it's one of those things. Like whatever country you're going to, know some kind of basic knowledge of it. I don't expect guys to know some kind of advanced constitution, all that shit, but know your base laws, like what you can do. Like for example, Singapore, if you throw a gum, if you actually bring in a gum, chewing gum, you
I've
can
been
get
there.
fined for that.
Yes,
You can get
yes, you
fined for
can.
that. And if you throw a
Uh-huh.
gum on the street in Singapore, you can
You go
get
to jail.
fined. I believe
They,
you get
they
jail.
didn't
You get jail.
they caned the white boy there. You remember when they caned that white boy? And then
Mm-hmm.
the
I
U.S.
remember
was
that.
the U.S. was trying to get involved. There was a white kid. He was spray painting, and then they caned him like 19 times. Yeah, the Singaporean government's very strict. If you spit on the floor, you throw gum. They're very strict. People don't realize that.
Dang.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're crazy. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people tend to just make these blanket statements on these Arab countries. There's 22, right? North Africa, like Tunisia, is very liberal, like very secular. It operates different than, let's say, for example, Saudi Arabia. But Saudi Arabia is starting to open up. It's see, people don't know this stuff. 22 countries, they don't all operate the same. Some are secular, some are more conservative. Like Saudi Arabia is conservative, but they're becoming more progressive. The United Arab Emirates is conservative, but progressive at the same time. You have a mosque and you have a nightclub across the street. You have escorts in the United Arab Emirates. You got drugs there. So
Facts.
if it's a religious country, why the hell they allowing this stuff?
Because you know why?
I
You know
tell you
why,
what, I want to
Rod?
do.
You know why, Rod? Let me ask you this for Rod. You know why what is it, Saudi Arabia and Dubai is becoming more progressive?
A lot of the
Because
West is forcing it down their
no,
throats.
no, 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 no. It's not that. It's because they're running out of oil money and they want to diversify the economy for tourism. Why you think you hear about tourism right now in Dubai? You hear about tourism in the Middle East, those Gulf Arab countries, for a reason, because they're trying to diversify the economy. Because currently, I believe, what is it, 70% of the economy relies on oil revenue. You see what I'm saying? So they're
Yeah.
trying to they're trying to diversify, which is why, like for
No.
example,
I think, to be honest with you, I think it's all hype. Let me tell you about these Arabs. What they tend to do is they don't ever want to reveal their cards. They have a lot of oil. They're very oil rich. Here's the problem: because the West is pushing a lot of this, what do you call it, electric cars? They're trying to make it seem like, yeah, you know what, we're going to move away from oil because the West is pushing this electric car nonsense, this energy stuff. So they have to kind of back off a little bit and not make it look like, you know what, we're going to diversify. But they're oil rich. They have enough oil to last them a couple hundred years. Iran
yeah,
has enough oil to last them 300 years. So
yeah,
don't
and
believe the hype. They just try to play the game. That's all it is.
it
I
just
was
goes
going to
to show you.
piggyback off a blueprint. I was going to piggyback off a passport blueprint. He was talking about researching these countries and these cultures. One of the reasons why I feel comfortable going to Latin countries is because I blend in very well. Right? I'm a light skinned cat. I got the fox fur hair. Thank you, God.
Okay.
Right? So yeah. So I'm gonna
So
blend in very.
you looking like Pedro Martinez and shit.
I don't know who Pedro Martinez
Got the
is.
curly hair and shit.
Or do you look like hold on. Or do you look like a Ricky Martinez? Ricky Martinez, a singer.
I don't know. Ain't he a fruit? Hey, don't ever put that on me. Nah, but in all seriousness, I'm comfortable moving around there because I know that in these Latin countries, that there's a lot of mixed race, right? And so I blend in very well there, very well, right? As maybe like a real dark skinned brother. Not saying they ain't got dark skinned brothers in some of these places that they didn't open up their mouth. They look like they a black man from the States. They have that, but it's not as frequent, right? And then when it comes to your appearance and your presentation, man, for example, in a place like Colombia, you coming down there, guys are American swag isn't Colombian swag. American fresh isn't Colombian fresh, right? Colombian fresh is Men's Warehouse. That's Colombian fresh,
Okay.
right? I'm gonna tell you a quick story. It was my homegirl Sophia, right? It was her son's birthday, Khaled. Like I've known these people for like fucking about 8 years, right? He was 9 years old. His birthday. I said, man, I'm gonna take him to the mall and get him something for his birthday. So I took him to the mall, and I'm taking him up in the Nike store. I took him up in the Adidas store. He don't want none of that. So I said, man, yo, Khaled, man, where you want, man? I'm trying to hook you up for your birthday so you can be fly. They was having a little birthday party in the little center of the neighborhood. He takes me into a Pull and Bear. Anybody familiar with Colombia? There's a store called Pull and Bear. And yeah, Pull and Bear. Yeah. And I take him up in there, and man, he went and got him a little button down shirt, a nice pair of jeans, and some nice little dress shoes. That was fly to him, right? When you take a look at these Colombian cats running around, that's them being fly, man. When you go in these restaurants, these 4 or 5 star restaurants, where you have some guys that come in there that are kind of loud with their dress, yeah. But for the most part, you're going to get that conservative men's warehouse look, right? So that's something that people need to take into account when they
Let me just
travel into these
piggyback
different.
what you were saying.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback what you were saying. What area was this in Colombia? Because I can tell you where I was at. Most of the locals, they don't dress up there. I mean, at least in Medellin, where I'm at, they just like to wear white tees, sweatpants, or tight regular jeans and some sneakers. I mean, they're just more casual with it. They're not really more suited up and stuff like that. So if you know a specific area where they like to wear button downs and stuff, let me know, because the areas I've been to, most of Colombians, they don't like to dress up. They like to dress down.
Have you been to
Well,
the
it's not.
Provincia area? Like, if you go to the Provincia area, you're gonna see a lot of dress up. Then the Poblado area.
Provincia, yeah, but it's not.
I'm not talking about the park. I'm talking about Poblado area.
Yeah, I've been
Right.
there. I've been all around there. But most of the
Yeah, so
time,
I'm not.
they're usually wearing jeans and a t-shirt. You know what I mean? It's not. Yeah, most Colombians don't really dress up as much. But
No, but
Well,
the reason they're why is they don't want to reveal they have money. There's only two you got to keep in
that's
mind.
true. That
That's
could
the
be
point right
that,
there.
that,
There's
that's not true.
hold
I
on.
got. I gotta
Let me
say.
explain, and
I don't know about that.
I'll tell you what I mean by that. If on a Monday through Thursday, it's just a regular day. Why would you go walking around dressed up all nice? It's normally on the
Exactly.
weekends. It's on the weekends, Thursday night, Friday, and maybe Saturday. And if that's the case, it normally happens with groups of Colombians. They
Like
don't.
my
You don't
man
go
says.
dress. Yeah.
Like my man
Right. I
says
mean, I
right here, they
wasn't
all
talking
dress with
about.
DJs. Yeah, they wear
I wasn't.
Nikes and regular jeans and sweatpants. That's what I see most of the time. But
Yeah, I
hey,
wasn't.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I wasn't talking about everybody getting up in the morning and they're getting fresh to death every day. You know what I mean? I was talking about in general, as far as when you're stepping out and you're going out to eat. You're going to go a night out. That's typically their idea of fresh, right? I never said that this is how they dress all the time. They wake up in the morning and they dress like this. You know what I mean? I wasn't saying that at all, right?
Yeah, I
I'm
understand.
just saying that their idea of fresh is Men's Warehouse. It's a very
Right.
conservative look.
Cat,
It's not loud. Like, you have elements of that are loud. You got the guys with the Gucci and all that stuff. Yeah, but it's not as prominent as the conservative look, right? So that's just something to keep in mind when you're traveling to these different countries, right? So that when you're moving around looking like everybody else, or as best as you can looking like everyone else, right?
yeah.
Also, again, if you are a dark-skinned brother, you know what I mean, and you looking like a straight brother, you're gonna be standing out like you're gonna stick out like a pink elephant in a white room.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially if you
let
got
me
the dreads. It's the dreads that
right.
give away the most. If you got that
Well,
dreads
no,
thing,
well,
Hey
it just
guys, let
again,
me
it all
just
depends
move.
on where you're at.
Let me just move to this one comment that Rolando said real quick, and I want to get you
Yeah.
guys' opinions. He says, these live panels are getting personal. We got ninjas flexing on other ninjas about how good their game is, and they're doing play for play. Do you guys see a lot of that going on in these
I mean,
YouTube
he's
Yeah.
on the
videos?
panel right
Absolutely.
now. He's on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know he's on there, but I just want to
yeah,
get you guys' opinion on it.
No, listen.
yeah.
Most of these guys are
That's true.
traveling for pay for play. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. Imagine somebody from Colombia coming to the U.S. doesn't speak English, doesn't understand the culture. How's he going to get an American woman? Now
So
turn the tables on an American doesn't speak the language, doesn't know the culture. He goes to Colombia. First of all, do you think Colombian women are into American men? Do you know what they actually think about us? I'm going to be very honest with you guys. It's not a positive viewpoint. The ones that'll actually give you the time of day are the low hanging fruit. That's it. They're looking for you either to bring them to the U.S. or to finance them
mhm,
on a monthly basis. They know you're
mhm.
going back to the U.S. and you won't be back for 3-4 months. Even if you come back every 2 months, she's going to give you every excuse in the book. Oh, I can only see you for one day, and you're there for a week. That's a red
Uh-huh.
flag. That's a red flag. She's not into you. Any woman, you guys
I
know
just
this
want to.
better than I do.
I want to get to this other comment by Kenny. So now you're gonna make fun of passport bros just because one guy decided to make an indecisive decision that may cost him his life. Did anybody make fun of passport bros on here?
No,
I
no,
mean,
not
no,
at
no,
all.
no, no. Let me just interject and say, I know Player Passport. I know what he was talking about because I've been to Medellin many times, and they do dress. They don't dress like the Gucci and all that, but they do dress sharp. But I will say this: there's one place I've been in this world, and it's like everybody is fresh to death. That's Tokyo, bro. If you ever been to Tokyo, people are fresh. Like you've seen guys with suits coming in and out of work. People are fly, latest fashions. That's the place you're talking about. But I do agree with your point. Colombia is like they might not have the money, but one thing they do make sure is they kind of dress sharp. Like, you see what I'm saying? So it's like it goes back to that
Right. It's a
lifestyle and
casual. It's a casual,
yeah,
Well, I've
conservative
gotten.
look.
yeah. And I would piggyback what you said earlier, play with passport. Making friends with the local man is the way to go. Because a lot of
Okay.
these
Yeah,
guys in the
I agree.
states, the only man that they even talk to in these countries are either the taxi drivers, the Uber drivers, and the tour guides. That's it.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
Exactly.
it.
no, I agree. I agree, but here's the problem you have. I know a guy I've known for 12 years. He's a paisa. He's not from Medellin. He's from another city. After 12 years, this guy's rich. He's considered rich in Colombia. He's from Stratus 5. He owns like a building that is half the block or a quarter of the block. This guy says to me one day, he says, "Hey man, let's go hang out. My girlfriend, take you to a small town." We go to a small town. He buys me a cup of coffee for 75 cents. Then we go to a restaurant. He goes, "Hey man, you take care of the restaurant." I'm like, are you crazy? I'm not paying for 4 people. And this is a rich Colombian, right? In his eyes, even though he's a rich Colombian, you're dealing with dollars. He sees you dealing with dollars. These are even rich Colombians. It depends on the relationship you have with these people. This is a guy I've known after 12 years. You would think he'd say, "Look, it's my treat," right? I've known the guy for 12 years. Does that make him my friend? Probably more than the average person, right? The average Colombian, he doesn't have a lot of Colombian friends, but that's how they see you sometimes. Even after so many years, they see you as you're dealing with dollars. You're coming to their country with dollars. Even the men will look at that and say, let's go hang out. You take care of the bill on the drinks." And I've known the guy, and we've gone out and we split everything. So that happens from time to time. So when you befriend the men, they still see you no different than the women will see you. You're dealing with dollars. You got to keep that in mind. You can't win them over with your money. If they're sincere, they're gonna be your friend. There is no
Facts.
and then we split the bill half 50%.
Yeah.
So this
And
is I've known the guy for 12 years, and this is what happens.
okay.
Yeah. Well,
And
clearly,
I
yeah, you
understand
definitely have
that
to have a
point.
genuine. You got to have
Interest.
a genuine
Yeah.
friendship. Definitely want to have a genuine friendship established. And I mean, some guys, I don't know the gentleman's name. Some guys don't know what a genuine friendship is. You know what I mean? So yeah, they
Right.
can get taken advantage by men too, man. I personally haven't had that experience, but I'm sure that it happens and that it could happen. Again, it goes to judgment calls on character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and sometimes it's like one of the ways you can do that is like just testing the dude out. Is he really about genuine interest, or is he you really using you for your own, for his own benefit?
No,
Which is why I say
I think
here's the thing. Here's
yeah.
the thing. A lot of guys will say, "Oh man, you American, you should only deal with the upper class, upper echelon Colombians." I'm like, bro, the upper echelon Colombians, they have money. They don't care about kissing ass to a gringo. They don't care because they got money. Because you see what I'm saying? It's like they don't need you like that. Because that's why I say
They
it's
don't
like
need your
it got it.
friendship. They don't need
They
your
don't need your
friendship.
friendship.
They don't need
That's
your
why
friendship.
it got to be interest. It got to be a genuine interest. Make sure if you
right.
befriending the local men in these countries, it has to be a genuine interest where you guys are both helping out each other like one by one. You see what I'm saying? It's like
Look. The
that
only
way
the
it's
only
not a
way
one way.
the only way that's gonna happen is if you have a Colombian that lived in the West. That's the only way. And if he lived in the West, he has to live there long term. He's got to understand the American mindset or the Western mindset. Problem is, they still have that other mindset. That mindset from their
Right.
country. Yeah.
I just want to ask one question. I dealt with 3 women on this dating site, in Medellin, Colombia, and they all asked me, was I a passport bro? And I told them no, and they automatically just stopped talking to me.
Really?
And I was like, I'm not. Yeah. I don't know. It was weird. I was like,
they're sizing you up for a reason. If you say you're a passport bro, there's already an attachment to this is a guy that's going to finance me. I'll tell you what's happening now. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not going to generalize. What's happening is you got passport bros coming to Medellin and they see a 9 or a 10 and they're like, damn, she's fine. And she's like, okay, you want to come spend time with me? $1,000 a day. Sometimes they even fly them into Mexico. It's incredible. I talked to a guy from Cali, Colombia.
wow.
He told me, he said the passport bros, not just the passport bros, he said foreigners are ruining the women in Medellin for other Colombians. You know what he told me? He said he's been talking to somebody from Medellin. He lives in Cali for 7 years. He said he's noticed her behavior's changed. She went from being a normal girl to a guy's flying her into Mexico and giving her $1,000 to $1,500 a day. Just to hang out with her.
But think about the kind of female. Think about the kind of female that can just up and
talk to you a little later.
think about the kind of female.
I'll
Think
talk to you
about
later.
the kind of female that can just up
No.
and leave and
Yeah,
go to another
somebody got
country.
their mic on. Can you mute the next room? Somebody's
Think
talking on the
about
background.
Think about the kind of female that can.
Yeah,
Think about the
somebody's
kind
talking
of
on the
female that can
background.
up and go.
Okay.
Think about.
Yeah, I had to meet player with the passport. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think you muted the wrong person, Andrew. It was Rolando. You're supposed to, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my fault.
I can't see nobody.
Rondo, you got somebody in the background?
I'm actually like at work, so I gotta be careful.
All right.
Hey, Drew, can you take that last comment down so we can see everybody's names?
Oh, yeah. I just want to read this real quick. Play Dog says this, right? He says, yeah, but Medellin, the safe zones are the danger zones because that's where all the money is at. In El Pablo, people are getting gunned down in broad daylight while having lunch at upscale restaurants. I mean, those of y'all who are kind of familiar with the Colombian news and kind of know what's going on, especially with the incident with, well, this TikToker actually died. She actually got shot in Catayo, but that was the borderline of Venezuela. But what do you guys think of this? I mean, those of you who, I mean, do you think that they're targeting the safe zones because that's where the money's at?
Absolutely, yeah. In one night, they can drug a foreigner, take his credit cards, and deplete his funds. In one night, they can make $10,000. The average salary in Colombia, you guys know this, $400 a month. So in one night, they can make a couple of years' wages.
All right,
you don't think they're gonna risk that? And these are like low class, like working class Colombians, like just stratus 1 and 2. You won't find stratus. Well, actually, you'll find stratus 3. You'll even find there's a group of Colombians that go to the elite college, AFIT. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this university. There's a group of them that have to pay for college. So now what they're doing is they're using women to bait foreigners. And in the process of doing those, so they're drugging them and then depleting their funds, getting their credit cards, placing orders. There's nothing you can do. Like, what are you going to do? If somebody places an order with your credit card in Colombia, you go to your credit card company, they give you back your money. The Colombians know that. So they're targeting them and making a lot of money.
All right. So I was going to just say, man, think about a female that can up and go to another country with you for a week or 2 weeks. Well, what kind of, like, is that a female that, you know what I'm saying? A female I can be like, hey, you want to, right? She ain't got nothing going on. Like, who cares how bad she is? Like, me personally, I don't care how bad she is. If I can tell her, hey, look, you want to go to Italy for a week? Oh yeah, I'll pack my bag. We can leave when we want to leave. Oh, in a couple of days. Okay, no problem. I'll be ready. Like, no.
Shit, snatch her passport and look how many times she got stamps in that bitch.
Right.
Well, you ever see the profile pictures where they're in Paris, Dubai?
Yeah,
Come on.
exactly.
Come on, their profile pictures, that's a red flag right there. They're letting you know exactly. They're sitting on a boat, just a regular boat. They're letting you know exactly what they're all about. And then if you read their profile, it's
now,
always...
you have some females. Yeah, you do have some females, man, that they're getting money in whatever way they're getting it. Me personally, I don't care how she's getting it. Right? She ain't asking me for it. right? She might be getting it from.
She ain't asking me for it.
Yeah, she might be getting it from because you get these
That's what the
guys.
other guy, as long as she ain't doing it to me.
Right.
Yep.
You get these guys. I'm like, yo, my females, they not asking me for it. Oh, that's because she probably getting it from Ronin or she probably getting it from Andrew. I don't care where she getting it. She ain't getting it from me.
As long as it
Right?
ain't coming from you.
Yeah, it ain't coming from me, man. But you do have females, man, that got their ish together, man, and they're able to travel. Right? They're able to travel. They're able to do these things. But again, it goes back to the quality of the woman. The quality of the woman. And unfortunately, not everybody is capable of selecting a quality woman, right? And it ain't really their fault, right? They just not good at selection, right?
Do you think there should be?
Let's take that one step further, though. The quality of a woman should be beautiful, but that most beautiful woman, you know how many dudes have already tried to hit that up and have already occupied that time or already gotten her used to being a Western Union poppy? That 10 is the headache. You should be looking at a 7 or an 8. You should be maybe looking at a 6. Upwardly mobile to an 8 if she gets dressed up and throws some makeup on. You looking at that 10, bro? I'm trying to tell you right now, she's gonna run game on you quicker than the other one.
100%.
So let me ask you guys a question. I want to
10.
throw a monkey wrench in here. I just want to throw a monkey wrench in here. Talking about looks and with women. We have passport dating coaches, right? That are trying to give you the blue print on how to find these selective women. Now, you guys know how I feel about dating coaches. I don't think you need a dating coach to get a foreign woman, but so I guess some guys feel they need to follow a blueprint book or whatever. But some of these guys are capping, for the most part. We know most of these women, they're for the streets. We know that there's some intel that some of these dating coaches have these women for the streets. Do you think that the passport dating coaches need to come up with a different strategy that can show the audience some true authenticity of how to get non-pros? Or do you think they're just going to continue just try to sell you pipe dreams and shit?
Yeah, we had a show earlier today just talking about the Passport Bro movement, and we featured Dana D. She's a TikToker that was speaking about Passport Bros going overseas, getting married, starting businesses. The whole thing is content creators are putting out information to get clicks and views. The real guys that are out there doing the work, grinding it out, getting businesses, getting married, they're not out there to put it on content to make money off of YouTube. They're making money in the country. They're happy with their lives. They're not out there to promote it. Had she done any kind of research before she put out that viral video for that comment, obviously, she would have known there's so many brothers in different countries already that have businesses, have successful marriages and other things, own homes. But they don't have to put it out there for everybody to see. That's the whole thing. There's two different groups, or actually multiple different groups within the Passport Bro movement, from the mongers, the content providers, to the ones that are legitimately going overseas to retire, learning the culture, getting in with a good woman, having a good circle of friends, and a good environment that they can grow and flourish in. They have business contacts and everything else. There's guys that you can go into certain countries and they will put you on game real quick. They already have the whole outlay down. Those guys aren't putting their stuff out online for everybody to see. So
well, if they
and
did,
I know personally,
it'll attract all the wrong
and
people.
I personally know,
exactly.
And I personally know Passport. I personally know Passport Bros that are not about the play for play lifestyle, but it's just the sad thing about it is just the name itself is so tarnished by the media that they're putting everybody into one category. Oh, he's paying for a whore. He's a passport bro.
Well, how do you tell
he's
the
out there?
difference
He got
between
drunk by a chick.
a legit passport bro versus a passport bro that's foolish? That's full of shit. So to speak.
It's based on a few things.
Failed passport bro. I've been traveling.
I think it's based on the individual.
Passport bro term came up. I've been traveling way before this passport bro term. Passport bro came up.
Yeah, but I'm talking about somebody that just logs on.
But I think all of us have, though. To be honest with you, all of us have been traveling before the name Passport Bro came up.
It recently
I
just
think
came
that.
up. Matter of fact,
I'm talking about the average traveler.
We have one
the
big
average
guy
traveler.
in the
what I
space
think is
right now
name,
who actually tattooed his name
by the
Passport Bro as his name.
I think it's got to be defined. I think when you think about Passport Bro, it's somebody that travels for whatever reasons, but it's short term. That's the key. It's not somebody that travels and stays in the country for years, right? That you become an expatriate and not a passport bro when you're there for long term. When you're traveling to all these different countries short term, that makes you a passport bro. I don't know. I'm guessing by definition. The other thing is when you go to these countries, how are you going to pull a woman in Thailand that doesn't speak English, right? Colombia doesn't speak English, Brazil, Portuguese, on and on, right? So really, are you really pulling these women for relationship and everything else when you don't even know the damn language or culture? That's where it becomes like there's a gray area. I think when it comes to passport bro, you're traveling short term. That puts you in that. I think it puts you in that category. When you're living there long term, I think you're an expatriate. You're no longer a passport pro. You're there for a year,
Expat,
two.
yeah.
That's back, right? So that puts you in a whole different definition or category.
Absolutely.
I think that's that short term versus long term, and then that's where it's got to be drawn out, the definition of passport bro. I think somebody said earlier he talked to three women. They asked if he was a passport bro. He said no. So all of a sudden they stopped talking to him. Reason why is because they know passport bros are coming in short term and they're looking to spend money short term. They'll come and spend $2,000 in like a 3-day weekend. They want to take most of that money. They want your money. If you're a passport bro, they're thinking you're coming in for 3-4 days. You're going to spend a couple of grand on them. It's no big deal. That's why they shut you down
Yeah.
quick and said, "Yeah, I'm not interested."
It's a bit tricky because I know certain members of the group and I'm part of the group, and I've seen the men. There are men there that are expats, and they fall into the category of passport bros. So, I honestly, I just think it's just the individual itself, because I mean, you could have a monger who's a passport bro, you could have an expat who's a passport. There's even veterans, believe it or not, that consider themselves passport bros. So, I just
Let me
think it
say
just
that
depends on
those
the
are
individual.
weak-minded veterans if they want to get in that group for no apparent reason, but just to be a joiner.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you a story, man. Of this whole passport bro thing. So I was coming back from Panama, right? I was in Houston. Then I was going from Houston to another city, and on the plane, it was the sister. She was talking to me and all that. She was asking me, "Hey, where you came from?" and all that. And I was like, "Panama." Out of nowhere, she was like, "Are you a passport bro?" I was like, I had to stop. I was like, "Huh? What is that term? What is it?" She said, "Passport bros are dudes who travel overseas for women." I had to stop myself. I was like, "No, I never heard of that term." So, come to find out, I was acting like I don't even know that term because I don't want to be associated with that term. You see what I'm saying? Because now
Are you
it's got a
Judas? Are
bad
you denying Jesus? Or Peter? Are you denying Jesus 3 times for the gospel?
you got a bad name. Now you got a bad name to the point that it became, first of all, what happened was the movement started off with a good intention, guys going overseas and wifing up these women.
Right.
Then you had the grifters that came in and they became the sex packs guys. The guys that go over there for hookers, they come back 3-day weekend, Cartagena, Susu, or whatever. Those are the guys that mess it up for everybody. That's trust me. There's a lot of serious guys who are passport bros, but I'm just saying the guys who grifted and messed it up for everybody is like the Rello. Think about it, Rellos, Floyd, and all that. So it's like me personally, I just don't associate myself with that term because I've been traveling way
Right.
before the whole passport bro thing. And secondly, I don't just travel for women. I travel for the whole package.
Right.
You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
let me just piggyback and say this.
The
Let me just
women. Here's the
piggyback
thing:
and say this.
the women is the icing on the cake. The women is the
Right.
icing on the cake. It's not the
I'm
main
just gonna
course. So
let me
that's
just
what I'll let my
piggyback and
plane
say
over
this.
there.
Right. Let me just piggyback and say this. Absolutely, I 100% agree with you. But I honestly think that, like I said, the media and what you were saying with you have certain mongers that are part of the group, and it does kind of tarnish the name, but it's been cleaning up. You know what I'm saying? So I do see brothers out there that are, for the most part, doing travel vlogs, and they are meeting women, but they're all they are showing cuisines and foods that they're eating, exotic foods, and going to the exotic places. So I can alone stand ahead and say that it's BM. Shout out to BMTs though. He is polishing it up a little bit. Monte says Peso Man is homeless, and he's also saying this is why the disappearing of a lot of travelers that are not overseas anymore. What do you guys think?
So in regards to Peso Man, he is homeless. Because they said, I believe the story was like Ugandan government they kind of scammed him, and they kind of robbed him, so he had to come back to the States on an emergency basis. So now they say he's back in DC and homeless. So
They try to rob. Why do you think they try to rob him? Because they think he's an American?
no,
No,
he got
I think
extorted. He got extorted by the government in Uganda.
I think it had something to do with his girlfriend getting into the politics of
Politics. Yep.
Uganda,
Yep.
and then they did a raid.
hmm
They
Oh
he got caught
shit!
up in that whole mess,
Yep. So
Wow.
and yeah,
yeah. So
They're
it,
not
it was
playing, bro.
because what was happening is his girlfriend had a YouTube page, and she was criticizing the Ugandan government. Mind you, she's Ugandan, but she was criticizing the government. Next thing you know, they came to his house, and she was all over there. They arrested him and her. They pretty much extorted like whatever they can from him, and literally he had to take an emergency flight back to the States. And now he's asking, the passport bros for money right now. Like it was, I think he asked Ulysses for money. Then he asked another dude also on the panel that night when we had that show. But yeah, it's looking bad for Pacer Man right now, bro.
And I don't like hearing anybody go down. But
I
again,
don't, I
it's
don't,
like
I don't, I don't. Here's the thing. I don't like anybody going down, but what he was saying about the dudes in the space and all that, he was clowning. Think about it. He was clowning the other dudes in the same situation he in right now.
What's
You see
the
what I'm saying?
phrase, Buck? Don't throw
What's,
stones when you live in glass houses.
yes. Yep. So he
Isn't
was
that the
doing the
phrase?
same thing. He was criticizing every little thing. Next thing you know, I mean, look what happened to Pacer Man. So
Yeah, no, I think that's what gave him like the edge on YouTube is the fact that he was critical of everybody. But it's karma. It came back to roost. I
Yeah.
honestly think you can't sit there and behave a certain way and then all of a sudden it doesn't happen to you. Everything that he said about others happened to him, where he's now homeless, like you said. I don't wish that on anybody. It's just that's what gave his persona on YouTube. He was the one that was critical of the Passport Bros and everybody else of color. So I think that it came back to roost. I don't know. I don't know the whole story, but that's what I think about the guy. But really quick, I wanted to say something about the Passport Bro movement. The problem that's going to occur, I think, in Medellin. I don't know about other parts of Colombia. These guys that are going down for pay for play. This is a different topic. There's going to come a point where the Colombian government, Medellin's going to be like, you know what? We're going to have to shut down these places these guys are going to
It
frequent.
has.
Have
It
they shut it
has.
down already?
They've been. Did you see what they did to Cartagena? They
No.
cleaned
they
up that
shut down like
motherfucker.
they cleaned it
They're
up,
checking
bro. They shut down
IDs
like
like
two of the clubs.
crazy
Wow.
in Medellin over there in what's that place called over there?
Rod,
Parquilleros?
Paquieres, yeah.
Yeah.
Rod,
They've
they
been
shut.
checking
So
IDs. Yeah,
if you've been
yeah,
to
go ahead.
Cartagena before the pandemic, and if you go to Cartagena right now, bro, Rod, it's a
Totally different.
completely two different places.
Really?
Now they made it
Yeah.
more family
They're trying
friendly,
to
and
turn that into a
that's another
family
thing.
friendly. Yup.
That's another thing. A lot of these governments, what they doing is they making these places like family friendly, like Sasua. What they doing is like they closing shops of certain places. They kicking the girls out. They're running the girls out, and what they doing is they want more. See, a lot of people don't understand this. A lot of these places they want family friendly people. They want, wife and kids, husband, all that. They want their spot to be known for a family friendly. They don't want no. Here's the thing: no country in this world, even if it's illegal, no country wants to be known for the red light districts. I'm be
They, they,
honest
they
with
don't want to
you.
be known as a sex capital of the
The
world,
sex
right?
capital of the world, because that's like
That's why
insult.
they
Bro.
keep
Like,
things
I don't know.
underground.
I don't think Thailand has a problem with it. I'm just saying.
no, Thailand doesn't have a Thailand. Here's the thing: Thailand is the exception to. Here's the thing: Thailand is the exception to that
Not
rule.
yet,
They don't.
Ronan. Not yet.
I don't
No.
think
Here's the
they
thing.
ever
Here's the,
will.
here's the, here's the thing. Thailand is the exception to that rule. Thailand is the exception to that rule. But I'm just saying, most of these other places, and I'm seeing it happen. Like DR, I've
Do,
seen it happen.
do you think
Colombia is
they'll shut?
happening.
Do you think they'll shut down the houses? You know the houses that they have and the places that are illegal. You
Nah,
think
No,
they'll
no,
they're
no,
not
shut?
no, no,
gonna
no.
start. They're not gonna do that.
So
See, they
Rob.
try to make it more organized. They try to
Yep,
make
yep.
it more
More
organized. That's
organized.
all they
Rob,
doing, bro. That
Rod. What's gonna happen is they're gonna keep those brothels, but they're gonna keep it regulated. They're gonna keep it in a certain destination where it's away from the family and all that from the tourists. So it's gonna be.
Do you know a country that does that right now? Amsterdam.
Yep,
Yeah,
Amsterdam is a prime example. I mean, Amsterdam, you barely see the girls walking out in the middle of
them on the street.
Amsterdam.
You see them in the windows.
You see them in the windows only.
You go window shopping.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go
You don't see them on
I
the
mean, it's almost like street weed and dispensary. That's all they doing.
Yep.
They just making stores for them now. That's all they gonna do, bro.
And
They
here's
have
the
to
thing
do
here.
that.
And here's
They
the thing.
have to do that because passport bros don't know how to act sometimes. So they have to do this because they don't want stuff keep happening to visitors. And, and that's what's going on, man. Stuff is, dudes go over there. Like, man, I went to Brazil. Like a dude of mine, when I first went to Brazil, he give me all this advice. Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be careful with it, man. You gotta watch yourself. That's what he told me. And he was the main dude getting into trouble.
Hold up. We just got an update on Passport Dog. Apparently, someone that just wrote it. He got banned from Colombia for 5 years.
Due to overstay.
Wow.
Oh, it was due to overstay.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, so is he back home now? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, he's in the U.S.
Okay, so that's good. That's good, but
that's a good thing.
Well, that's good to know.
He's safe. He's safe.
Breaking news for real now. You know what I'm saying?
okay, so I can see that happening. He ended up overstaying. He got banned, and
And this,
I mean,
and
he probably
seems
feels
like
ashamed
so-
or embarrassed. He probably feels ashamed or embarrassed.
yeah, but which brings up another important topic is that a lot of these countries now are putting in parameters to weed out people. Case in point, Thailand is now instituting ETA, which is electronic travel authorization, which even though it's visa free, you got to go apply for this, and that, and you're going to get checked out. The e-visa for Brazil, same thing. And now I'm hearing there's been some issues with people trying to get their e-visas. You're going to start seeing that. Now they're getting a little bit strict and tight because I'm hearing some of the content creators having issues when they go through immigration in Colombia. All these are parameters based on, well, not all of them, but based on the behaviors of foreigners.
Right.
Foreigners' behaviors. And some of it in certain countries are based on these whatever you want to call them, going around doing pay-for-play stuff, and people are trying to clean their image up. As you said with Sosua, they're cleaning up that image. You know, they're making Cartagena more family oriented because these people don't want that image, because that image brings a lot of issues. I just did a live based on the new technologies and stuff that's happening with travelers now. Now they're putting in biometric stuff in airports. All that biometric information is linked in globally, not just with TSA, it's global. That thing is tapped. And I know who's holding that information. That's the United Nations.
Right.
And one of its sister agencies in the United Nations is Interpol.
But it's gonna be better, bro. It's gonna be better. Watch what I tell you. It's gonna be better. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna normalize and stabilize a lot of things. Like, for example, I know it's gonna sound crazy, bro. It's gonna sound real crazy to you, but it's gonna normalize a lot of things. So people can't just charge any price for anything. And what it's gonna do, it's gonna stabilize and make a standard for things. That's all it's gonna do, bro. And you got to go to establishment to get certain things done. That's all it's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what
certain cities and certain
Or is
countries,
it going
man,
to
are going to not
identify
going to.
who the normal people that constantly go into certain trafficking countries?
Yeah, you know what the Colombian government started enacting recently? If you get a visa in Colombia now, you have to get a FBI background check.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you got to get an
Well,
FBI.
then a lot of guys that have priors are not coming over anywhere.
Right. So they're looking to weed people out long term. So now you got to get an FBI background check to get a long term visa. That's a 1-year visa or 3-year, because I got a 3-year visa.
That's an expensive ass background check, to tell you the truth.
Right.
Anyway,
So
let me say this real quick.
Yeah.
Alex in Asia, he lives in Thailand. He says in the next 10 years, red light districts will be a thing of the past, and it includes Thailand. He said for the last 3 years, they've been really cleaning up the district too. So, I mean, let's say this: since the pandemic and a lot of countries are shut down, a lot of these countries felt that pain of not being able to bring in the resources through tourism and the sex trade or whatever you want to call it in those countries. You know, virtual reality, OnlyFans, and all these other websites are now coming out. Don't you think that's affecting the business? Because now these girls have learned how to make money outside of being in these bars and everything else, and having mom and son take a percentage, and everybody hands in their pocket, even though it's their bodies.
I think they institute. There's a webcam university that exists, right? You guys know about
Oh,
this?
there's one in Colombia. There's a huge one. We even did a whole video on that, didn't we, Drew? Didn't we do a whole thing with the Colombian guy that was running the cam girls, and they had whole apartments
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're very much heavy in the cam business.
Yeah, would you say that was instituted during the pandemic, post-pandemic?
Oh, it got bigger, most definitely.
It got
People
bigger,
had
right?
Time, and they had those pandemic checks. They had nothing time but money, time and money. That's all they had.
100%. Now I'll say this: that it's kind of weird because since that has been instituted and put in place, you won't find 9s and 10s anymore walking down the street. They're traveling to other countries.
They're making millions of dollars.
No.
100%.
Not only that. They
100%.
got taken off the street. That's the thing. A lot of those 9s and 10s from Colombia, they're in Dubai, they're in Switzerland.
Yep, 100%.
They in those places.
They're on the poop tours.
100%. Dubai, Switzerland. I think there
it's
was
like they go because now that's why it's like when a lot of guys when they go back to Medellin, they say it's not even the same because they don't see the 8s and 9s and 10s because the 8s, 9s and 10s
they're not there anymore.
They're not there anymore. They took their talents overseas and they
where
take
the
their
money's
talents
at.
where it's more money. Like for example, Switzerland, Dubai, Qatar, all these other places.
That's right. Listen, do you guys know about the 2 Nigerian guys that had a clothing business in Dubai, but were heavily involved in drugs? They got shut down because of some Colombian escorts. You guys know about this? They had a company.
That sounds like a typical Nigerian situation, though.
Listen, they're from Switzerland.
They can twist that shit up real quick.
They didn't want to pay the Colombian escorts. What do you think? These women are smart, dude.
Sound like passport bros.
They shut them down. These guys they were looking to do 20 years and they were looking to do 20 years in the Dubai prison because they shut them down for drugs and a whole bunch of other stuff. Colombian escorts.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Same thing happened at Cartagena. Remember with the I think it was
Let me read this $5 super chat real quick.
You want to hear? Yeah, go ahead. I thought you read it already, but go ahead.
Nah. YouTubers, TikTokers, Instagrammers don't have any home training or manners and wasn't raised by men because red light districts shouldn't be talked about. I mean, this is something we talk about, like I said, in the veteran and the military community. Yeah, we did that shit, but it wasn't something we took pictures of. We didn't take it home to our families. Nobody knew unless you knew us.
Right.
But again,
I mean you got a guy like
creator space. It's the content creator space. This is what they do in order to get their clicks, the sensationalism, the Jerry Springer, Maury Povich situation that people have been programmed on for the last 3 generations. You know, this is the new version of that. They're looking.
Right. You couldn't get that content. You couldn't get that content. That's absolutely right, Ronin, because that content existed, but it wasn't the space wasn't saturated with it the way it is today. Right. Even when guys were posting up females in the thumbnails, it was just to draw attention, right, to their channel to build their subscription base. Right. But now you got content creators like their only thing is like Andrew had mentioned earlier, these wannabe dating coaches, right? That are actually pay for play cats, right? So it's absolutely one of those situations where they're trying to build their subscriber base and trying to get these views and everything, and they're literally willing to do whatever it is that they need to do, to get those numbers. That's when you get the crash out.
Let me ask the panel now. So let's spin it. Is it the passport bros or the content creators that make the space look bad?
Content creators.
That's a good. You know what? I'm gonna put that down on here. That's a good question. There,
I think
passport bros are actually doing the traveling low key, not sitting there putting the content. Is it the YouTubers, the TikTokers, the Instagrammers that are promoting the shit and promoting in a certain way that it shows a bad light on the overall group?
That's a good question.
When I think about content creators, I think about Sly's life. I think about, I would say, a Marwa. I would say there was some white cats called Living the Life. I would say Ace Live. Like those are people I view as content creators. You understand? But then
Mhm.
you have the other people
You
that
got to
I
give
guess
them a
they would
name.
be.
Are they
Yeah,
mongers?
but
Are they
they're
Are
considered
they
as content
are they
creators too, though,
pookies?
because they're
Are they
YouTube.
pookies with cameras? You got to give them a name. Are they the mongers? Are they pookies with cameras? What are these
Yeah,
other
they're
guys?
all of it. Right, they're all of it. They're the gumbo.
Use my names.
Okay, so
they're
all right,
they're
so
the
guys,
gumbo of the travel space, bro.
so we got about. Let me just say this real quick. We got about 60 something people in the building. Make sure you guys go ahead and get those
Yeah,
thumbs
I
up,
like
man,
that.
and subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to Ronin. Subscribe to everybody else that's on this panel who has a YouTube channel. So I put up on here who's doing the wrong in the travel space. Is it YouTube content creators, passport bros, or passport pookies?
Boom.
See, the thing is, in regards to
Like
the
to pay
passport
attention.
cookies, a lot of people don't understand. In regards to the passport cookies, many of them used to go to South Beach for spring break and all that for
Yep,
holidays.
absolutely. Miami.
And
Yep.
now,
Mhm.
since Colombia and DR came up, a lot of them went to Colombia and DR. You know, but to piggyback to
Sasua.
your question, and
Yep.
Sasua, to piggyback to your
Cartagena.
question,
Yep.
I feel like the content creators had a more effect than the password bros. The reason why is the content creators. When I talk about content creators, I'm not talking about the real content creators like travel content creators like Ace Live, those guys, right? I'm talking about those creep cam video guys. The creep cam video guys,
Yeah.
they'll sit in Parque Jerez, Medellin, they'll get like 400 million
Somebody said
views.
both.
So
Shake said both.
I just think it's more of a content creators that messed it up.
Well, in
Oh
my
man.
opinion, a content creator is somebody that you get real information from, right? That's productive information, right? It's educational. That's what I consider, what I mean, a content creator. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I
These
broke it
other
down to four
cats,
categories. I broke it down to 4 categories: passport bro, content creators, which are the legitimate ones, YouTube pookies, and YouTube mongers. I put it in 4
Well,
categories. So
but really and truly, pookies are mongers though. They kind
some
of
are,
fall in the same.
some just have no home training. They're both. Some are both.
Pookies don't like to pay for shit. They go there and they expect to
Yeah.
get the low, or some of them like to
Oh,
flash their
yeah,
cash.
that's Jay Real all day long. He is a finesser. He tried to
It's Jay
finesse
Rillo.
women out their own paychecks and out their own bodies. So yeah,
they all
definitely.
asking for money.
Damn, so
Right.
everybody's catching up to what I've been saying. I like that. I
Morara, yeah,
like that.
he's another one.
Who?
Morara, yeah, that guy. I've seen him a couple times. Yeah, he's like an
How about
African dude.
I
Isn't he
think
like
Let's see
Nigerian
who
or
just
something?
showed up.
the guy
No,
that nobody
Yeah,
talks
he's
about in
African.
this space a lot is passport heavy. I
Pastor
consider
Heavy
him
is
a I
he
consider
is a
him a real
huge YouTuber.
content
Yeah,
creator.
he's out of he's in a whole nother stratosphere, bro. He puts
yeah.
a whole production out there. He has a production crew. He goes
Right.
around. He has huge sponsorships. Stays in $1 million places. So yeah, he's way out of the whole travel space as what we consistently think it is. He's out of that.
People
So,
that
but
totally
Right.
agree
Most
with
of these people are just
Big
regular
Clive what you
travelers
just
that are
said.
taking a camera with them. They're just taking a camera around. They're regular. They're travelers. They're taking their camera with them. You know what I
I
mean?
totally agree with what Jay Clyde just said. Instead of using labels, just say the channel's name and voice the opinions of it. I totally agree with
I
that.
don't mind dropping names. Yeah, definitely.
That's
Drop
crazy.
their names.
Yeah,
They
man.
want the fame, give them to them.
Anybody want to drop names in the chat in the panel? Because I'll
About
drop it.
Oh boy, we're
drop
doing
names
hit
about
piece.
what?
I'll drop
Are
it.
we
And
doing
I'll,
hit? We
I'm
doing
say
hit
this
piece
right now,
hour?
right now. I'm about to
Are
drop
we doing
one
hit
big
piece
one.
hour?
Pause. Big
Drop.
Boss Real Talk.
What is it
That's
about Pop? What is it about Pop?
Big Boss Real Talk.
Oh man.
That's one dude that had a
He,
negative
he
effect.
claims to be the king
Oh
monger. So I
man.
mean,
King
he'll
Mongers,
take
yeah.
that title.
Oh
He'll
man.
definitely take that title.
So you think Big Boss is he could be a
That's his
problem.
claim
He's
to
part of the.
fame.
Yeah,
Is he?
That's his
Is he?
claim to
he's part
fame.
of the
So
problem. That's what I'm saying. He's part of the to
Oh,
me.
okay.
Here's the thing: when I look at Passport Heavy and Big Boss, they're completely two different things.
miles away.
The miles away. Passport Heavy is talking about traveling.
Well, I mean,
putting out real
if you kind of
content,
look at it though,
investing.
if you kind of look at it, Big Boss did solely at he says, he pays for it. That's what he does. That's what his whole channel his logo is about. So you gotta give him some respect there. He did admit it. Listen, I'm a monger. This is what I do. They got the raw dog condom gang. They go
saying
raw
you gotta
dogs
give
and
him
shit.
respect.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Somebody can
A
say
lot of
I'm
them pay for it.
a
Skyler said
murderer,
he's
and
paid
you wanna
for
give
it.
him respect for saying I'm a murderer just because he's doing something wrong. He said I did it right.
No,
I'm
I
doing
mean, I'm not saying that, but I mean that's a little bit harsh there, Ronin. I mean, a murderer.
I'm
I mean,
just saying.
that's a little bit different from going
I
raw
mean,
on shit.
I mean, some of the shit that he's done is kind of roguish anyway. I mean, you sleeping with a homeless chick for some money and just instead of having some fucking. Come on, bro.
That's crazy work, but hey, that's what they do. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna hold them. That's what they do. Oh man.
I think if Cassius got back to, man, just being travelers, man, and just giving the travel experience, right? That things could the gray cloud over certain groups like Passport Bros and I don't know these other Pookies and all this shit. If they just focused in on like the travel experience, you know what I mean? Then I think the gray cloud could definitely get off of them, right? But there's not any travel content from these people. It's turned into podcasts now, right? And so you're not getting any real travel content. You know what I mean?
Can I add something?
Some people are getting some information. I think BMT he had a video with the cat that played basketball, right? I thought that was a really good video. Because I would have never thought. I'm like, damn. I said, man, that's a good little lick right there. You know what I'm saying? A basketball player, he's able to do what he loves. He's able to do it in a country that different from the United States. He's able to be outside the United States. He's able to make a good salary for that country. I thought that was a really good video.
Somebody in
But
the
most of these content people, they're not making any videos that are really informational, right? Things that that can actually educate you, that can kind of open you up, like wow, like man, that's pretty good. Now they're all getting into the conspiracies. What if you're this color? Like what? Come on, man.
Well, we got the social owner.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, we got social owner here. I just want to add into that. I totally agree with you. I mean, I believe that this travel space has a sector for everybody. If you want content that's dealing with travel vlogging, if you want podcasting and dealing with open panels that we have right now, if you have series of unsolved mysteries, I do a little bit of that too. So I mean, I think it's just I think the travel space itself as a whole has gotten big in this community. So there's a sector and I would say there's a sector for everybody that has any type of content. I mean, what may necessarily not be
the
your
negative
niche
stuff gets the
could be
attention.
somebody else's niche, Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. I know.
Yeah, the negative stuff is going to get the attention. That's like when they did that Passport Bro documentary, and I think some of the Passport Bros were, oh, we weren't represented right. It's like, no, you were represented the way that the majority of people who are claiming to be Passport Bros, like that's the representation. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have made no sense for them to interview Andre because he ain't the majority, right? That people associate with when they think of Passport Bros, right? I think if you're outside the travel space, you probably wouldn't even know who Andre from Love Crossing Borders was, right? But those of us that travel, we could say like, damn man, why didn't they interview Andre? Unfortunately, he's like the minority, and the bullshit is the majority. Right?
Well, they're looking at They're looking at the people who are doing mostly the crash outs.
Right.
Because if you look at these crash out contents, these guys are averaging about 100 to 200 people in a fucking room, bro. Every single time they put on a podcast, they're like 200, 300 people watching. So they got a fan base. Like I said, there's a sector of this travel space for everybody, man. But unfortunately,
I've been watching this chick over at Panama. I've been watching this chick in Panama, Panamanian chick.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the kind of female I'd rock with. But she talks a lot about she was really going in about the Panama Canal and all that stuff, and just businesses and real estate and just the culture, just everything.
Can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm just getting into if that gentleman is finished. I don't want to cut nobody off.
Nah, go ahead, boss.
Listen, from an inception, I want to start really taking up speed. I've been calling everything, and I called the plays exactly what's going to happen, and it's been happening time and time again. In anything, black people, we are seen as a collective, especially when it comes to negativity. We already given a certain identity in certain spaces and into the world. So anything that we enforces that negativity is really pushed forward to the forefront. There's a lot of brothers, an extensive amount of brothers who travel, pays for their own trips, who are actually doing the damn thing, but they're not getting the attention. There's brothers out there who will put out amazing content. They'll really show you how to travel, show you how to make the money, show you the proper way to move, show you this, show you that. Yeah, they're getting damn near to no views or anything. And positivity within this community just doesn't flourish as much as negativity. In the travel season, there's a lot of people that are simply just box chasers who just understand the benefit of traveling overseas and they put the two together. I've never considered them really travelers. I just consider them chasers who just happens to go. It's like when people go, like there's Americans that say, "Oh, I've been to Mexico." You haven't been to Mexico. You've been to a resort in Mexico. You just changed the weather. That's essentially what you just did.
That's true.
And that's what I mean. That's kind of what that space is. Like you have brothers, they go to
They just leave from America to go to another country that's a small sector
cheaper.
that feels like America.
Cheaper. And all the things that they complain, because again, I've watched them. All the things that they complain about the United States, women, this, and this. The only real big difference is by going overseas, they're able to afford what a man who has the financial resources can afford here. All that fake femininity, all that fake love, all that you can get it here if you have the money. It's just simply what it is. But when you go over there, you add a bit of the gringo factor, which has been built based on the belief from the TV shows and everything that these people see, that we have money, that we have this. This is one of the reasons why you go to Colombia, they don't really feel bad robbing us, because in their minds is, I'm going to rob them. When they get home, they get it all back. That's literally what a lot of people in those countries have told me and stuff like that. They feel as though Americans should just get it all back.
Yeah, but I think to add on what you're saying, I think the other element of it you guys don't hear about is the amount of people getting injured from scopolamine, getting scoped, or the amount of people dying. You don't hear about this. Let's say, for example, it's 2 people a week getting killed from being scoped. That's not a large number. It comes out to 100 people a year. But what about the hundreds of people that have been scoped who are not coming out in the open saying, look, I got brain damage after being scoped in Colombia? This is very common. People don't realize the severity of it. I know a story of a guy from Atlanta who had to have his family fly in, grown man, fly in to bring him back from Colombia because he ended up getting brain damage from scopolamine. You don't hear about this stuff.
Exactly.
So
travel insurance. Get travel insurance and make sure you got insurance that says repatriation. Stop making your family fly out to get your asses or your bodies.
They're not going to do that.
Maybe somebody can recommend some travel insurance company or something.
This is what I do. That's when
quit going to places where there's a chance that you might get drugged, robbed, kidnapped, or extorted.
Well, here's the problem. As an insurance guy, most people, when they're on vacation, do the most dangerous shit. It's the most times when you're going to get injured is when you're on fucking vacation. Because like I said earlier, you're at your most relaxed. You're not on guard. You're not doing anything. And you think you can do everything. You don't normally go fucking water skiing. You do that shit on vacation. You break your leg while you're water skiing. You go rock climbing while you're on vacation. You do the most dangerous, extreme shit on excursions that you normally don't practice, don't warm up, don't ever do when you're on vacation. That's why I said get insurance. You're going to fuck yourself up, most likely.
Right.
But they're not
most of these cats ain't even doing no excursions.
Gentlemen,
they're not even doing excursions. They just hanging out in Park Jettas.
You in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's what insurance is all about.
You guys remember the story about these 2 guys in Poblado who ended up lighting up a fireplace and it blew up the whole place? And then the guy was put in a hospital in Medellin. His family had to pay $50,000 to get him out and send him to a Miami hospital. The Colombian hospital wouldn't even let him go. They just said, look, you got to pay us $50,000. We're not.
Thailand's like that. Philippines like that too. If you don't pay your bill, you don't leave.
Right.
They will hold you hostage.
Listen, guys ain't going over there with real intentions and sense of wanting to learn because all the information is out there. They're going over there simply to get, Diddy treatment. Go out there, do
He
what they
said Diddy treatment.
they want.
He said-
Again, that's it. Again, people do stuff for
oh
money, man.
man.
Money's the biggest motivator. You can get whatever you want if you have the right amount of money. And some people just essentially they just convert their power, the US dollar over there, and it gives them a little bit more spent for their buck. Like I see the space, and I'm guilty of it because I enjoy the fuckery because it's just an interesting case study to just watch. It's just like trash TV, just to believe. When you live a certain lifestyle, it's sometimes nice to see how the other side lives and how things like how do you not see 2 + 2 is 4? It's just fascinating, and it becomes an obsession to a degree. And so, but again, nobody wants somebody to get hurt or anything like that. I mean, I've made plenty of good suggestions, but people don't want to hear it because again, good suggestions, and if you actually listen to the right advice, then the fuckery doesn't happen. You see what I'm saying? The idea that
any type of
go ahead.
I was gonna say any type of BS. I haven't been involved in a lot of BS in Colombia, but anytime I was fairly close. I was in a situation where I was smack dab in the middle of it, right? But it wasn't me. I was just a casualty of this other fool, right? But it was always with other people that I didn't know.
Yo, pause.
Every time.
Pause. I gotta say
Yeah.
pause because hey, I didn't notice this before. But I'm gonna celebrate this. Andrew's show got his monetization back. Congratulations, bro. Your first $5. You need to read that. That's your super chat.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, congratulations.
Appreciate you guys.
Congratulations.
Get demonetized. That shit ain't easy to get remonetized. Believe me. So
Hell no.
Yeah,
man, I had to fight real hard for it, but I got it. Appreciate you guys.
I had to. I was like, what the fuck?
Let me ask you guys on the panel. I want to know. Look, here's the thing. When it comes to passport bros, it isn't just passport bros that are getting injured. There's a lot of these guys, a lot of these white guys, Hispanic guys from these Western countries, America, Canada, whatever. Problem is, it's just they're constantly promoting passport bro. Where they're thinking it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy because if you look at if you go to the Colombian newspaper, they'll come out and say, Jose Rodriguez from Texas. Well, he's not a passport bro. I mean, according to the definition, right? So it's kind of crazy how they're constantly pushing it a certain way. I don't know why that narrative is being pushed. You guys brought this up earlier. I don't know what the goal is at the end game at the end of the day.
He begging.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've got like it's not like they've got a standard for them to be able to use the passport bro name. You know what I mean? So of course, people are gonna associate any traveler that's a male as a passport bro.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and that's a whole nother conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because again, I mean, it's not like we can say it's not like a passport bro can say, "Oh, Andrew, are you a content creator? Yeah, I'm a travel content creator. Oh, well, man, we need to talk to you, right? Because we see you using the passport bro name, and we're looking at your content, man. That's not what we about, right? They don't have a situation like that. You know what I mean? Because it's just what do they call it? They've had so many definitions. It's a mindset or a life, or whatever it is, right? So because of that, anybody can make a video traveling and either say they're a passport bro or they're going to be associated with passport bro, right? And it ain't really passport bro's fault because it ain't really their fault, you know what I mean? But it is a thing, you know what I mean? It's a thing, and it's just out there,
they
and
use
anybody
the name,
can grab onto it.
The name is just used for media purposes to tarnish the people that's in the group, and unfortunately, the dumb ones, even the stupid ones, they don't really. Well, I wouldn't say stupid one, but the ones that do the crash out shit, they don't even consider themselves passport bros, but the mainstream media will put them all in the same category. I just want to piggyback. I just want to read this with Homie Hubs. I noticed that he moved out of Colombia and he's living in Peru.
He's in Lima. Yeah.
Right. So I've seen this a lot, man. You're seeing a lot of these people who are expats in these countries, especially in Medellin, they're starting to realize, like, you know what, this is not a feasible place for me. I don't think I can grow relationships. Even on my short time of being out there, I kind of knew the logistics of what it is. Like, it's, to me, in my opinion, if you're gonna date, I just don't recommend dating in Medellin. It's just the money pit with women that just want
it's twofold. It's twofold. Medellin's a very liberal city, and then the Paisas have this mindset where they think they have this culture and tradition.
Exactly.
It's a fusion of both of them. Here's what I could say Medellin is. Medellin it's a honeymoon period. Everybody goes through it. If you were to look at if you look at people that buy real estate in Medellin, you find out when they sell. Most of them sell at 7 years. If you pull up the data, I know a guy that's in real estate in Medellin. He says at the 7-year point, they had enough. They had enough of the culture where people are late, make excuses. They call you in Spanish grosero because you're telling them, hey, man, you're late. Couldn't you have at least called me? Don't give me any excuses. So it's a lot of cultural differences, right? Then you have the element of liberal city. It's very liberal. And then you have the traditions that squeeze in that somehow makes its way in there. So people at the 7-year mark, they had enough. They throw in the towel. They either come back to the U.S. or they look at another destination. That's if they own property in Colombia. I would say at 2.5, 3 years, if you've lived in Medellin, it's time. That's when you normally say, you know what, I'm done. I have no roots here. I don't have any genuine friends. What am I doing here? So that honeymoon period, I would say, is that anywhere between a year and a half to about 2.5 years before it starts to dawn on you. You have no sincere friends. You now have superficial relationships. The culture is too much for you, and you just pack up and leave. And then the other element, it's getting more expensive in Medellin. Medellin's one of the most expensive cities in Colombia.
Yeah. Oh, you're not lying. Right. You are not lying.
There's a lot of other cities in Colombia that cats can go to.
And it's all the gringos' fault.
There's a lot of other cities that cats can visit in Colombia.
If I were to live in Colombia,
they're just afraid to venture out.
Right. If I were to live in Colombia, Medellin just would not be my spot. It's just like you said, it's oversaturated and it's way too expensive. I don't want to. I wouldn't recommend it.
I think, like, even before even buying a property, bro, you should live in that destination for at least a year before you pull the trigger. Because a lot of dudes, they go there for 2 months, a month, or 2 weeks. They're like, yo, I'm really wanna buy a property out there, but they don't realize they still in their honeymoon phase. Let that honeymoon phase clear it out. Then after a year or two, see what you like about country, what you don't like about the country. Then you can assess buying a property.
Because you're seeing a lot of them checking out, as we would see with
Homies Hub.
Place, checked out.
It's like, I'm sorry, it's like any place, man, that you visit. You know what I mean? That's like, living in Florida. People, oh man, if I lived in Florida, man, I'd be at the beach every day. It's like, fuck, dude. I stay. It takes me 10 minutes to drive to 2 different beaches, man. Like, man, I did the beaches. I'm good on the beach.
What part of Florida are you from?
South Florida.
Oh, that's why. Okay, because the beach, I'm in Central Florida. That's why. The beaches are at least 30, 40 minutes away from me. So, yeah, I'm in Central Florida.
I'm in Palm Beach
County. So, right? I just want to read this real quick. Oh, Palm Beach. I'm in Orange County. Okay. Big Mike says this. Breaking news. Black American professional player facing death penalty in Indonesia for smuggling drugs to Indonesia. That's crazy work.
Wow.
That's on him. You know what I'm saying?
See, a lot
of
right.
It was stupid that he did that because he was bringing over stuff like gummies and things like that for players on his team. You would think with Brittany Renner and the whole fucking situation he went into, this dumbass would not do something like that.
Yeah,
he probably thought he could get the American privilege because he was over there in Indonesia.
See, once you step out of the borders, bro,
he's a semi-pro player too. So,
are you question for you guys? Question for you guys.
The thing is, it's like he already stands out. He's like, what is it, 6'9", dreads in Southeast Asia, and you're gonna smuggle drugs? And I'm like, that doesn't make no sense. At least here's the thing: if you're gonna smuggle shit like that, and I don't condone it,
I want to be boofed. I want to be
at least fit in with the people. And that's what I'm saying. At least fit in with the people so you don't stand out like a sore thumb. But this dude he stood out like a sore thumb, 6'9", long dreads,
Exactly.
and basketball
You
player
ain't thinking
tatted,
through shit.
and he was trying to smuggle something. Bro, you don't think they're gonna check your bags and all that when you doing that shit? So I feel like, to be honest, that is on him, man. To be honest,
It
that is on
Yeah.
absolutely
him.
is.
That
And his
is unfortunate.
That's
Just
stupid.
because a
Stupid
lot of
work.
people don't understand this about those Asian countries, man. Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, those three countries, they do not play around when it comes to drugs.
Drugs, man.
They do not. I'm telling you guys, because like especially those Asian countries they do not play around. Like
Big
and,
it's
facts,
not
Jay
and
like
Clyde.
and
Big
here's the
facts, Jay
thing.
Clyde.
And here's the thing you guys got to understand. The United States Department of State has zero jurisdiction in this country. Basically, if you screw up, you belong to the, once you get off that plane in that country, you belong to the jurisdiction of that country. You get in trouble, you get the same penalties just like everybody else. The only thing the State Department will do is just check up on you. They'll give you a list of attorneys and interpreters. They can't do spit for you.
Right.
So when
Take
you
that one
pass
step further, Blueprint. They're under the jurisdiction of that country, but you still can get indicted on our own laws because of that blue passport.
facts.
exactly.
So even if it's legal in that country for a 16, 17-year-old, if it ain't legal here, you still going to jail once you get back here if they want to press it.
Yep.
Yeah, double jeopardy is not going to, double jeopardy does exist in those situations. So you can get charged there and then get released and then get charged over in the United States in certain situations. So you guys better behave when you're overseas. And a lot of these crash out dummies is doing stupid stuff. They don't realize that. But when that happens, there is not going to be a Department of State to come save you.
Quick
There
question:
is no
Have
Trump.
you guys find out? So the subject about passport dog. Have anybody have any news or anything of that
Yeah.
sort?
They,
He's
they
in the
say they
United
say he
States.
overstayed. They say he overstayed his visa, and the Colombian government gave him a 5-year ban. So now he's back in the states. But let me just piggyback into this topic that I think this common dude, Big Mike said. It's it's one of those things, man. It's like what I was saying earlier. Please research the areas where you're going to, because it can literally save your life. And it's
That's a
like,
fact.
you see what I'm saying? It could literally save your life. And if it's unfortunate it happened to this guy, to this brother, because he brought because what happened was he had so here's the thing, gummies was legal in Thailand. He thought it was gonna be legal in Indonesia.
In Indonesia.
Those
Yep.
yeah, so it was legal
Two
in
different
Thailand.
countries,
Thailand,
two different laws. Yep.
two different cultures, two different. Even though they're both in Southeast Asia, Indonesia is a Muslim dominated society. It's completely different, and Thailand is more of an open society, nightlife and all that, drugs and all that. He thought it was going to be the same because they're both in Southeast Asia. Nah, that doesn't work. Country to country, they differ. So
I'll
he
take
went
it
over there
even, I'll
to
take it even
Indonesia.
one step further. 4 Canadians were deleted by the Chinese government because they brought in drugs.
Yeah, you
Wow.
see?
And they were dual citizens of Canada and China, but China doesn't recognize dual citizenship. The Canadian government got involved and they begged. They did everything they could to try to avoid these men from getting deleted. Chinese government didn't even give them a date when they was going to do it. They just did it. And they later found out months later that, yeah, we already executed them.
You don't see him as Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Jay Clyde made a comment, and he's 100% right, man. You know, people they get burned out in these countries. They get dragged into all these crazy things a lot of times because they make these decisions of trying to bring drugs in for whatever, you know what I mean? Or they just get burnt out in the countries because they're not enjoying the country because they got no genuine like relationships. They got no friendships. They don't have any they don't know anybody. They literally have no friends, right? You look at the content that they'll be in Brazil for 100 years. They don't have any Brazilian male friends who have careers, who are professionals that they're hanging out with. They'll be in Medellin. They don't have any male friends who are professionals that they can hang out with, right? They're not taking advantage of any of these services that are afforded to them. That's why I love meeting guys. And they're like, yo, man, I've been in Colombia for 5 years. I'm looking at their teeth and their teeth are fucked up. right? I'm like, you like, how you been living in Colombia for 5 years and everybody in Colombia's teeth are perfect? I ain't saying your shit got to be your shit should be perfect, but you ain't even got whitening, bro. Like your shit ain't, you ain't even go get a whitening.
Yeah, I seen a couple
Right.
of
So
gap
basically,
teeth
what I'm
over there in
saying,
DR, bro. I think it's the
yeah. So
water though.
basically,
I think it has to do with the
yeah.
water
So
system.
basically, what I'm saying is that there a lot of people, they're not traveling with good intentions. Like they might be traveling with I'm sorry, not traveling. Yeah, traveling or expating with real intention of, man, I want to really get to know this country. I want to really take advantage of the experience. A lot of people are just traveling to have some fun, and that's cool too, but they're choosing to go have fun in places that are unhealthy and unsafe, right? So if you're going to be having fun, go to a country that's safe. It's real simple, man.
Right.
Can I add something? My only concern was, that really bothers me. Again, this bothers me. Doesn't really matter. Like just like people going to do what they're going to do. Is this? There's a lot of people that go over to these countries, and they're not living the lifestyle that they're projecting or having
Yeah,
them.
absolutely
But
not.
yet they go out there, they understand what looks good on social media, what looks good on the internet, and that they present that, and they're giving these people false ideas. A lot of people will go out and see these online personalities, then go and meet them in person and be like, bro, this nigga's whack, this versus this. To piggyback what you said earlier, they don't have no friends because they don't have the ability to communicate with somebody on a human level, if that makes any sense. Their whole
Right,
objective is, what can I get from this person? How much can I pay for this chica? And that's it. Drugs,
right,
box, and that's it. They don't like, if you go, like for myself, I was living in Bahia, and I had made a statement that I said, no, I'm just chilling in Bahia. I'm meeting people, hanging out. I got some people still talk to today. They're like, "Nigga, why you gonna go to Bahia and just chill? You ain't out there smashing this and smashing that." I'm like,
right,
I'm like, bro, I'm a traveler. I'm actually going out there, meeting these people and doing things. Yeah, I get it in, cause I'm a man. We're gonna meet some people. We're gonna meet some. It is what it is. But that's not my
right,
objective. That's just something that naturally happens when you're just a human being that's going out there. But when you go out there with your sole intention, first of all, the women, there's a certain level of women you can only deal with because they're the only ones that will put up with you. Because if a woman with options who actually has a job, can pay home bills, and have these, would not put up with these dudes. They have short
right,
tempers. They have no communicational skills. They're only saving grace is they speak English and they're from the States. But other than that, they're they don't they don't have that. You know what I mean? That I'll chill with this person off the strength vibe. Their only thing is, what can I?
right,
It's a transactional relationship, and I try to tell them that, bro. Just go out there and be yourself. And then you
right,
complain, and then the other they complain about the women here. They complain about all that, but yet, oh, she's ghetto, she's loud talking, the fake hair, the fake this. But then you see the women that they deal with in these countries. It's the same women.
right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the same exact
100%,
women. It's the
That
same
that
100%.
exact
that
women.
holds some truth. That
And then
holds a lot of truth.
they'll say, "Oh, I'm not colorist. I'm not this. I'm not that." Because I had made a statement about how I grew up and stuff like that. But then if you see the women they deal with, they're like, "Oh, like for instance, you have brothers who literally say the Haitians treat us better, but yet they only deal with the Dominicans because they're light skinned."
Right,
They
right,
literally
right,
say,
It's
"I have a better
crazy.
time with the Haitian women. They treat me better. They do this. They do this. They do that for me. It's a much more present experience. I feel love. All these amazing things." But yet they continue dealing with the light skinned Dominicans because that's what they really want. Anywhere that you go, and it's just the lies that pisses me off. Because again, stop being disingenuous. You can't bullshit me because I actually travel and go to these countries. Yeah, there are brothers
right,
right now listening that's never had a passport, never been overseas. They're living vicariously to these dudes, so they can only see through the filter in which they allow them to see. Me, I've been to these places, so I see the behaviors, I see the actions, I see what really goes down,
right,
and I try to tell them, and I'm the bad guy. Because
right,
if I pop the balloon of the fantasy, like how are you going to go overseas in a country where the average person is living off $500-600 and you can't survive for $4,000 for 2 weeks? It doesn't make sense.
All right.
See, the problem is really the content creators, and I'm talking about when I talk about the content creators, is the content creators that they're watching. As you said, they're selling them dreams.
Yeah,
A
but I
lot of
think
these guys are living through fantasy.
yeah, but the
You know what I'm
content
saying?
creators earn their living from their content, right?
Hmm.
They earn their living from the content,
Well,
so they have to
well, the
sell it.
smart one. Let's put it this way: the smart ones do. There's a
Right.
lot of guys paying out their pocket and don't know how to file taxes to get that fucking return.
No kidding.
right.
Okay.
You get
Yeah,
what I'm
because
saying?
I think they have
They
to
ain't that
sell
smart.
you.
They ain't
They
that
gotta
smart.
sell you. They gotta sell you the
They're getting back
deception.
is that YouTube money. They ain't actually filing and getting a percentage back of their air flight, their hotel, their food. They ain't doing all that shit. They
Right.
might be getting YouTube money, but they ain't really doing it right. You get what I mean?
Or are they even
Right.
filing taxes? That's an even better
That's
question.
the point that I'm trying to make. They're not professional like that. I don't take them as that.
But
Yeah.
you give them too much. You give them too much credit because again, their motivation is not to be professional. Their motivation is let me go
Exactly.
get this box. Let me get this clout. That's why you see more and more brothers are doing these live videos because they get the clout of being an online creator. They get the quick instant cash apps, and they don't have to actually put in the work of putting the video together, explaining this and doing that. That takes work, and also it is also a little bit less rewarding. Do you see what I'm saying? And it is what it is. And I'm not blaming them because again, the space evolves and people are going to watch. If you listen, I don't like drugs, but if you go do drugs, maybe I got to deal it to you. You know what I mean? People will see what they want. And it's just like people always ask me, yo, you always talk about you're going to be a content creator. It's very hard to do it because every content creator, especially within the black space, had to start with creep camming. They had to. That they had to because within our community, within this space, and then also even within the content creator space, as a black content creator, you got to get it to a certain space, to a certain people, and you're gonna associate it no matter what. Every content creator that I am aware of, maybe 2 or 3, but primarily has to start with creep camming, have to be heavily into the women stuff, and then maybe once they get their core audience, then they can back off. We're not afforded a lot of the things that other races are. You can't just
None
be
of
a
them have made
regular.
the pivot. None of them have made the pivot because I remember when you're talking about, they start off a certain way, then they pivot to a broader audience, right? That's like
Yeah.
when Marwa first started out, he would just do interviews with females. Like that's all he did was interviews with females, right? When he started getting to it, right, he transitioned. Now he can move around, right? Same thing with
He was
Ace
doing
Live.
crib camming. Marvin was doing crib camming.
Yeah, that's why I said. Then he pivoted,
Yeah, he was one of
right?
the
And
pioneers of crib camming. He was literally one of the pioneers of crib camming.
Wow.
right, and then he pivoted, right? And then
Yeah,
you had like Sly's Life, right? But he wasn't
yeah.
creep camming. He would just go out there, shoot his
I
jumper,
like his
talk
video. Good. Yeah.
talk about, yo, man, he got shot down, the broad, hey guys, this is what I'm noticing, blah blah blah. But then he transitioned to a broader audience, right? A lot of these guys, they're unable to transition to these different audiences because their entire audience is the creep cam audience,
Mm-hmm.
and the
It's funny.
audience is dictating the kind of content that they got to make.
Exactly. You got to give the people what they want.
Listen, are you guys familiar with that guy that just all he does is film women? He doesn't even talk. I don't know if he's he's Persian or Iranian or whatever. From Canada. You know who I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about. You guys, oh my gosh, I can't remember.
Rami, something like that. Okay, so this guy
Ramen
goes
travel,
over
ramen travel.
Rami Travel.
Yeah,
All
let
he
me tell
does
you.
is he films beautiful women late at night. That's all he does. He goes to Brazil, he goes to Colombia. I don't know where else he goes, but that's all he does. The guy doesn't talk. Probably has, I don't know if he's got an accent, but that's all he does. He's got 500,000 followers. I mean, is that creep camming? That's creep camming, right?
Exactly. White YouTubers get millions of views by showing what they eat for breakfast, and it's so true. I mean, like even when I speak about hostels, hey, you know what I mean, I make too much money to stay in a hostel. They're gonna show you. They get this idea. There was this little thing called "I'm selling to the Negro." We have to always show our wealth. Real wealth is quiet. Real wealth doesn't give a fuck. Like the more money you make, the less you want people to know you make. If you see Jay-Z's progression, Jay-Z's a billionaire now. He got a lot less jewelry he's wearing. Do you see what I'm saying? But when he was in that stage, he had to show his wealth, and I tell people one reason why we're so fascinated with Jordans because it is an easy obtainable sign of wealth. Once you wear Jordans, yeah, I get money. Niggas be gotten 5 Jordans walking, don't got a car. Like what the fuck are you talking about? And this is what happened. Oh, I ain't no broke dude staying in a hostel. I'm like, bro, if you plan on doing more, you have to be strategic on what you're doing and why you're doing it. Oh, I ain't flying no Frontier. I ain't flying no. You know what I'm saying? Again,
here from it.
Sorry. So it's just the idea, man. And then it's like when you try to talk to brothers and actually give them real advice that's really going to help them progress and do more and see more, it's hard to compete with. Yo, bro, you gotta do is show up to this country with 500, give the shorty $40, $50. She gonna love you. Yo, she really fuck with me, man. She loves me, man. She loves me. She loves every nigga that gets off that plane. Like every nigga that gets off that plane, you can't talk to. I want brothers to actually go out there. I don't think they understand the difference when you actually talk to a woman who actually wants to chill with you, wants to be there. There's a huge difference. Of course, I will not argue that, depending on the socioeconomic level, you're going to be, paying the bills and stuff like that in regards to food and dates like that, which as a man should be doing anyway.
Right.
But when
I mean, that's what they say they want. They want the traditional male role.
they don't
right,
want
but when they're put in a position of when they're put in a position of having to fulfill the role, it becomes a problem.
They don't want it, bro. They don't. A lot of them don't even qualify because again, they don't. What they really want, they're telling themselves this fucking false fantasy. That's simply what it is. We are the biggest liars, and it's to our.
Well, hold on. Do you think that's because you're going to have to finance it? That's what, obviously you want the traditional role. You got to finance it. That means you got to take care of her family. That's what the traditional role is. If you were to really define it, like people say they want a traditional woman, you're going to have to fall into that role. Look, I got a woman. She's not a 10, but she's good looking, right? Mm-hmm. She's got a full-time job. She works for a not-for-profit, human rights in Colombia, an organization for human rights. Mm-hmm. She goes to the gym 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. She has a full-time job. She's got a dog she takes care of. What else does she do? She's got a lot of time. Like that's that type of woman that you want, right? Mm-hmm. Problem is she's looking for a traditional man. You want to know why? I'll tell you why she's looking for that. Preferably, she wants a Colombian man, right? That's her first preference. She told me, and that's because she's Colombian. But at the end of the day, if you could step into that role, kind of fulfill that Colombian man thing, you understand the culture, you're willing to do what it takes to take care of her and her family. First thing she told me is, look, I'm looking for stability. You know what that means? A guy that's financially stable. Why? Because she wants to be able to step away from her job after 20 years. She started at 20 years old. She wants to finish at 40. She doesn't want to work till she's 60. This is what people don't realize. They don't understand the culture. So if you're going to fill that traditional role, that's what the Colombian men should fulfill with these women, but they don't because it's just how it is in that country. The economy's bad or whatever it is. So if you're going to step into that traditional role, this is what you have to keep in mind. You got to go ahead and eventually you're going to be able to take care of her, maybe her family, depending on her background. If she comes from a middle-class family, maybe her dad has a job. So people don't realize that. When you're dealing with a lower working-class person, you're definitely going to fulfill that traditional role, and you're going to take care of the whole family. She's considered middle-class, but she doesn't want to work till she's 60.
True. But another thing that I like to add that's very important, gentlemen, you must know your lane. A lot of you guys get into a lot of trouble because you don't know your lane. If you naturally can pull 5 in the United States, you should naturally be able to pull 7. Stop going for these 10s. You do not have Ferrari money. Ferraris look good. They're good to show to your friends. They're good to, I got a Ferrari. But nigga, after like the month or 2 weeks with that Ferrari, you realize you got Ferrari payments, Ferrari oil changes, Ferrari insurance, all these Ferrari shit that does it. It's not that enjoyable, bro. I tell people this. I like me a nice 7. I like me a Honda Accord. I like me a Toyota Camry. It's a good car. It's a good looking car.
Good old reliable 100,000 mile car.
It's a beautiful car. I'm not embarrassed to be seen in it or with it. None of that shit. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand that because again, they sell you the fantasy. They're never going to be like you. Like you're 300 pounds. You got breast milk coming out your titties, and you think this 10 is really going to mess with you. You're going to convert her to really love you. It's not what the reality of the world works. Can it happen?
Well, see, bro, I have to disagree with you there, only because when you got money, it changes the ranks. Now, if you got that bread, I ain't lying. Look what's going on in our country. Look what's going on in our country. Pick an ugly dude in our country, an ugly rapper, Lil Wayne. He gets all the bad honeys. So you see, he's a rapper, got the money. He gonna get the bad chicks. I'm talking about this country. You say use this country, right?
But that's kind of an extreme. That's kind of an extreme.
I'm just using an example to let you know.
You literally fall right into what I just said. A lot of brothers don't have the Ferrari money. If you have a Ferrari money,
right,
you know what it is. When you go to Sasua, you pay that chick $40. You know what it is. Not because she loves you. Listen, I'm saying you have the money to buy your pleasure and buy what it is.
I don't think you're gonna see a Lamborghini. I don't think you're gonna see a Lamborghini driving through the Sasua with all those potholes.
What I'm saying is, understand what it is. If you understand that, but if you want something that's going to be more, that's going to be something that it can actually happen. She's actually going to have feelings for you. If your money gets low, she's really going to still probably fuck with you and stick with you, and stuff like that. Then you have to be very close, because again, it's just how the world works. Can it happen the other way? Yes, life it is always there. But the same thing we tell women: can a woman with four baby daddies find a man? Yeah, but most likely she's gonna find a nigga that just got out of jail who needs a place to stay. He don't love her. He just needs a place to stay until he gets up, and then he's out.
Right.
Understand? If you understand how the game is being played, you can best manipulate it and make it to your advantage. The problem is brothers are listening to sweet nothing to these women are telling them, and they're getting it. There are brothers on here who will not admit it, but they're like, we make fun of Future and make fun of all these guys. The only difference is they're on the internet with it. There's a lot of brothers out here that's sending these girls money, that's doing that, and you don't even understand what you're doing. You yourself are putting these women outside of your own league. Your provision, your money is your superpower, and if you keep giving it away with nothing, then you're giving out a superpower. Not to say it this way, I tell dudes this, and it might sound wrong. Your wallet is your pussy. So every time you give her $1, she's fucking you. That's essentially what it is. She's fucking you. And if you can fuck for doing nothing, why just keep fucking for doing nothing? The same thing you do to a woman. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna fuck you for nothing, and you're gonna fuck her for nothing. She's gonna do the same thing to you. But if you say, look, I understand what this is. I'm giving you my money. I'm doing this, and you're gonna give me this. Let's say even exchange ain't no swindle. You know what I'm saying? But if you're constantly saying, there's no reason why you should be in the United States sending this chick $250. All these problems she had, what was she doing when you wasn't there? Go back to that, bitch. Whatever you were doing before I was here, do that. But then when you go over there, there are women over there living better than you are. Living better than you are. And you're making like this the same behavior you allowed in the United States. Because again, you can look at the ugliest chick in the United States.
But women do that, but men do that here in the States, bro. They be sending cash apps to females they ain't never seen before.
I just want to say this real quick. Player with a passport, I appreciate you, brother, and your time for being up here. He said he got to go. All right, you guys can continue.
All right, bro.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. I have a lot of friends, the different girls in different lifestyles. I got girls who do like OnlyFans and shit like that, and they'll show me their fucking shit, bro. And the shit they be saying, bro, it's crazy, nigga. She'd be like, my nails done.
I got some OnlyFans girls too that I know, and they make a killing.
Bro, it's so crazy.
They're simping big time.
They'll send a chick
showing feet. They got a picture of showing feet, and they're making like goddamn $10,000 a month just for showing their feet.
They'll send a girl $50 to say good morning. Like, bro,
crazy.
What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like,
I mean, there's a whole lifestyle called pay pigs. They want to be abused by women just telling them to buy them things and give me this much money. Basically, give them carte blanche just to basically take their money from them.
There's no amount of money you can give a woman to have her respect you. It's just the realities of it.
Hey, you know what? I just want to intervene and say this. I was actually considering on getting an OnlyFans chick. The only reason why I say that is I think it's a smart investment. The reason why is that you can set up your camera work in the house, have her go ahead, buy her all the things she needs. I know it sounds like some pimp shit, but it kind of is. But you set up everything. You buy all, go to Shein. Go to Shein.com. You can get some lingerie, sexy stuff for cheap. Have her post up and stuff, and she makes your money. You take a cut of that, 15-20% of what she makes. You ain't got to work. That's your investment right there.
No, I ain't going to lie to you, bro. I ain't going to lie to you. Here's what I was thinking about doing, right? I was going to go to Brazil, go to Colombia, go to these countries, talk to a couple of these girls. You know what I'm saying?
Hire
some dudes to talk to these. Hire some dudes to talk to these dudes, and whatever picture she needs, these girls will send her the picture. Hey, he wants to see me and by the pool right now. Boom. He wants to say it's Jennifer. Hey, his name is Robert. Like these dudes, I have so much, bro. I have so the stuff.
I mean, people look at it as a bad thing, like with the whole OnlyFans. Now, I personally wouldn't date an OnlyFans chicks that's already an OnlyFans. I would like to create one, right? I'll have one and create one, and that's how I make my money.
I'm trying to tell you, you're going to create a monster.
Well, isn't that the way, what's his name got rich? What's that guy's name everybody thinks he's? The Tate brothers. Yeah, the Tate brothers.
A lot of people don't understand how the brothers really got their money. A big portion of it is because at a point in time, they was getting paid via crypto. So when crypto blew up, all that money blew up. Exactly. That's essentially what kind of happened to them. They got lucky in a sense because, again, I made a lot of money on crypto because I do phone repairs and phone unlocks, and I deal with a lot of people in Moldova and these countries that do the unlocks. So we had it sitting in the account. That's the way we, kind of you pay each other. You know what I mean? So a lot of people made money because when that money blew up, they was already using that currency. That's essentially what happened to the tape uppers. There was so much.
I mean, if you look
I
at
think
it, you
before
provided.
the crypto, they had a cam business. They had women in Romania working the cam business. Do you remember that?
Oh, so that's what they did.
Yeah,
Yes,
you remember that before the crypto?
If you look at
I mean,
it,
that's
it's
pretty much what the
kinda-
whole legal part is about. Is the cam business.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you get the proper paperwork and you do things the right way, you have a
It
sign.
came down to the girls. You sleeping with your girls. You're doing all kind of off shit with the girls.
Oh,
right
well, that's
along with
different,
having them
though.
online. So then, you know, you start getting feelings involved, and now people wanting to tell on each other because she don't like the other bitch that you might be with.
But you don't need a lot of girls. You could have your own personal. She could be your girlfriend. You can have your girlfriend do it and just make some content.
My girlfriend? No, I'm good. I'm good.
Bro, she
My
ain't
legacy,
going nowhere. She's in the house. She ain't doing nothing to nobody.
Bro, that shit's gonna be on the internet, bro. I am not gonna have my kid losing all. I'm not having my kids losing all your mama battles at the cafeteria. My kid's not losing all the mama battles. Like, bro, your mama's so fat.
Hey,
well,
I just look at that as an investment, brother.
That's not an investment
to capitalize and make some money.
No, that's not an investment.
OnlyFans is not an investment. You set up the camera work and
and it's of dating. I'm saying dating.
So
dating.
So Drew, what you're saying is you'll set up an OnlyFans chick, but she ain't your main girl. This ain't the one you have.
She ain't my girl. Period.
Right.
She ain't gotta be your girl. You just take 15%.
I'm saying this to Drew. You just want to take. So you got room and board. You're gonna set up the house and let her take 80. But you're not kicking it with her. You're not gonna have no feelings, nothing.
Bro. Y'all wild, man.
You wilding out, bro.
Listen, I tell people this. Only thing that keeps a woman, if you ever see a broke woman, that's a woman with morals. That's just simply what it is. Any broke woman is a woman with morals. They always
woman is a woman with morals.
You can be blessed to be a godly woman. What's wrong with you, man? There's plenty of people to make money and are Christian. Just because you got morals don't mean you don't know how to make money. I got morals. I make all kind of money, but.
I think when it comes to the morals, I have to, with social learner, to some degree, I agree with him. Look, the woman I'm with, she's I don't know if she's spiritual. I don't want to say she's religious, but she got a good job. Problem is, it doesn't pay her.
You got morals, you got ethics, and you got your fucking legal shit. You're selling stock, you're selling insurance, you're selling retirement plans. You're a fucking lawyer. You're this, you're that, you're the other thing. You can have morals and do all those things and still make a good goddamn living. Stop with that shit.
Correct.
You're a good guy, you're not going to make fucking money. If she's a good girl, she's not going to make money. There's a lot of beautiful, good, moral women out there that are making a fucking shit ton of money. They just got assholes.
There is, but I would say that's a minority. I don't think if you look at the data, we would say that's probably a minority, right?
Nah,
I don't think
it's a majority. It's a silent majority.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have the data, so I wouldn't say that, but I agree with them to some degree. There's women that have a good job working for whatever companies. It's a third world country, so they're not going to get paid a ton more than they would in America.
I'm not even talking.
Fellas, I got a question for everybody in the panel here. I don't know if you guys have checked out the previous shows and topics that I was talking about, but it seems like social media for foreign women is on a rise, and I've talked about the slaying of these YouTubers. I mean, not YouTubers, but these TikTokers. One was from, I believe, Mexico, and one was from Colombia, and then there was one that died in Chile. But the one that died in Chile was a queen. She was a cartel queen, and she exposed herself, and she got shot. Do you guys think this is going to be a reoccurring occurrence where foreign women are either going to have jealous foreign men or be in situations where they will get robbed or killed? Because it seems like it's starting to trend right now. I mean, what do you guys think of this?
Well, in that situation, one of them that you have up on the screen was involved in drugs or something like that.
Right.
And the other one was a jealous boyfriend. I don't really see it too much as a trend as far as the three that you profiled on your show the other day. Those were all drug related. So if you eliminate those two, I don't see this being a trend. One was just a jealousy. So
there was a famous chick and her boyfriend. They got robbed because she was on a live, but and she does cosplay. She's a cosplayer, so she dresses up in all these different fantasy outfits and has a lot of stalkers and different things like that. somebody came to her house and tried to rob them. And I think she got hit over the head with a pistol whip or whatever until her boyfriend got home. But yeah, there's situations where TikTokers are telling on themselves. They're telling them when they're home. They're telling them when they're gone. And if people know their location, a lot of girls won't tell you their location anymore or even broadcast where they are for that simple fact. You get 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 followers, 1 million. You're making halfway decent money. You're getting you got sponsorships from different people. You're making a decent living. You don't want people to know where you're at. Same thing with these YouTubers that go live and they're saying, I'm right here on the blah 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 street. If somebody's following you, bro, god damn. How easy are you making it for the next guy?
Yeah, that Jamaican guy just got taken out on his live, man. And that's why I tell brothers, man, you can't be on these internet streets having beef with people and you're constantly going live in third world countries. It's not a threat. It's just the realities of it. You can literally just find somebody, pay them $50, and they come there and smack you on the live. It's just like, there needs to be some form of decorum, but then a lot of brothers keep thinking they're gangster because they're gangster in the United States. Gangster in the United States and gangsters in other countries.
Jay Riddle found out otherwise. Oh, I'm the man. Somebody say something, and some bitch slapped him in the side of the head.
That's his camera.
He
was in El Centro.
They slashed his camera. Then he walking around after he got his camera back. I'm the king of the minute, and he still got hit up again.
He was in El Centro, one of the worst places to not have cameras or any type of stuff. That's Barrio Central, bro.
People don't want to hear you yelling like that. You ain't even local. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
You know what? It's common in Asia. I think there's a guy by the name of Johnny Somali. He's in South Korea.
Yeah, he's in Korea right now. He's already been prosecuted for one charge for 5 years. He's been found guilty, and they're about to run him up on another one.
There's another guy. He's a Russian American.
Vitaly. He's in the Philippines. I'm in the Philippines.
He's in the Philippines.
He also got 5 years, and he was asking for the death penalty.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. So these guys are really, I don't know. They keep using the excuse they're on drugs or they're drunk or whatever it is, and they act a fool. And all of a sudden, it comes to bite them in the ass.
Did you guys hear about the guy that got beat with an air fryer from Baltimore and Puerto Rico?
No.
He was recording in, I forgot it's called La Press, whatever. It's that little where Trump tried to buy, and he was recording while that's where everybody goes to get their stuff. And he was recording, like, yo, stop recording. They said, stop recording. If you're a gringo, they'll give you a warning. You know what I mean? They know you're not from here. There's rules. You know what I mean?
Puerto Rico's America, so you should even already know. You don't go in certain places
he was
in
acting
wood. An American do that shit.
He was acting all tough. He was like acting all tough. Dudes, I'm from Baltimore. Yeah, I'm from that. I'm like, bro, like,
I'm from Baltimore. I still wouldn't do that shit.
Bro, dudes be 150 pounds thinking they tough. You tough because you got a gun, bro. There's a difference. You're not tough. A baby can take somebody out if they can pull the trigger. You know what I mean? They don't understand the difference between, like, dudes will really crash out. And so the dude, can you imagine your family got to bury you knowing that you got beat with an air fryer? That's how you got taken out this world. Somebody beat you with an air fryer. You got look at difference. Like, that's just crazy to me. You got beat with an air fryer, bro.
That's an awkward ass thing to get beat up with.
That's weird. That's weird. Like,
that's funny. That's a hell of a way to go out. Shit.
Yeah. Like, you survived Baltimore to be taken out with an air fryer. Probably a 3.2, $29.99
air fryer. But you get knocked out and killed by an air fryer. That's
bro.
Crazy.
Because these dudes really thinking they tough. Like, I'd be like dudes like, I'm gonna wear my chain wherever I go. I'm like, bro, you are literally wearing somebody's 6 month salary around your neck. Right. Like, it's not. I tell you, I'm not tough. I'll fight if I gotta fight, but I'm not gonna show papaya. I'm not gonna make it come to me. You know what I mean? Like, people are really be hungry out there. Like, it's just so stupid when I watch these dudes, and that's why I be trying to get insurance on people, man. I'm like, if you're gonna keep being stupid, I can give you advice not to be stupid.
Talking about that, do you think the crash out? Do you think that the passport crash out dummies? Do you think they should be investing in some sort of insurance, or whoever's funding these trips?
Here's the bad thing. Here's the downfall. Here's the downfall on insurance. If you die, it's going to somebody else.
Well, isn't there a guy called Crash Out Insurance? He's around on Primo's channel. He offers insurance to travelers.
No. I'm like,
what you mean? I'm not selling nobody else's shit. I sell insurance.
I mean, they should have a crash out insurance. I mean,
I'm not gonna
we need to have more of those.
I'm not reverse mortgage. I'll give you 10% of access to the full value that I'll get paid. You know what I mean? I'll pay for your trip to Venezuela. Go be tough over there.
Yeah, I think the Timothy Reed situation, I think that was a setup. First of all, and correct me if I'm wrong, he made the payments for his property in separate cashier's checks, which was a huge mistake. I think he made them in $50,000 cashier's check payments, 4 separate payments. didn't have an attorney involved. There's just a lot of things that are questioned. And then his
Because they think they know
fiance,
how to move. They believe they think they know how to move. They don't understand. You're going to a country where the average fucking person is making $500 a month, and you're coming out with thousands of dollars. You're
Right.
gentrifying the neighborhood, so they already feel some type of way about that. You think they actually like you. You used to be like 70 dating a 23-year-old. What do you think she's here for? She's here for the money, and then you're gonna give it to her all at once? $250,000, $300,000? Oh yeah, my boyfriend's definitely gonna come see you. Like that.
yeah, but I think I don't know. I think his fiance advised him, but you got to understand, his fiance comes from a Stratus 1 background. Stratus 1 is the lowest of the low when it comes to a whatchamacallit situation, social, class, socioeconomic class. It's the lowest socioeconomic class, Stratus 1 in Colombia. He probably depended on her for knowledge, but she's not educated. She doesn't know
that's the first mistake. Why are you depending on somebody when you're an older individual? Should be a little more wiser financially and fiscally. Why would you trust somebody in that country for language, for translation only? But business class, like even my chick lives in this town. I asked her, well, I'm looking at this Airbnb that I was going to lease out. So I switched the Airbnb from an Airbnb over to a longer term lease. And I said, hey, can you go check this property out? And by initiative, she went ahead and emailed the chick. I'm like, no, I didn't ask you to do that. I just wanted you to look at the property and see where it was at. Well, the initial contact she made, the Airbnb rep just blew her off. She didn't know how to approach it. She didn't know how to word it. She didn't know how to get the Airbnb rep to want to switch to a longer term lease and get off of Airbnb. When I approached her, instantly she was open for it. I went over the last 3-4 months of her history. I went up 4 months in front. She didn't have no bookings, barely 1 or 2 bookings in a month. I'm like, yo, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I can do at least 90 days until I figure out what this immigration thing is when I renew my visa. After that, we can talk about maybe a year-long lease. But would you be open to approaching doing a longer term lease than me just Airbnb-ing your shit out? Because that's way too expensive. I'm not doing it. Absolutely, she did it.
Of course, but again, you need to understand though too. When you speak, like for instance, I was in.
You just now we can.
I was in Ukraine. What's that sound? You hear that sound?
Yeah, somebody got a little buzzer going on for something. I don't know.
Guys, we're gonna wrap it up in just a few. Social, do you want to go ahead and continue what you were saying? Okay, I don't know.
I think he's having mic issues.
All right, I'm gonna read some super chats in just a second here, man. I'm gonna read Ronin's and mine's as well. Just give me a second here, guys. Let me just go ahead and do this real quick. Just read the super chats real quick, and I'm gonna get back down to the panel with all the fellas here. Shout out to TF with the $5 donation. YouTubers, TikTokers, Instagrammers don't have any home training and manners and wasn't raised by men because of red light districts shouldn't be talked about. Okay. And the child with the $5 donation, shout out to you, brother. Salute to the travel, to the travel. Great work, Ronin. All right. We got Victoria with a $5 donation. Passport undercovers should be added to the list. Oh, wow. Drink on me, Mr. Show. Hello, Ronin, everybody. Wow. Okay. All right. There you go.
Welcome back to the monetized community.
Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it.
I know, Howard, you worked on that in the background, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody have any last words? I guess because we're like 3 hours in.
I'm glad to hear that the brother made it back to the United States. Whether he got booted and banned for 5 years because he overextended his last visa stay or whatever. At least we know he's at least in the United States, and maybe he will come live and update his people on where he's at and where he's been. So I guess hopefully stand by and wait to see if Passport Dog is gonna come live here in the near future and bring us all up to speed on where he's been since he's gotten back.
Okay. All right. Cool. Anybody else?
Yeah. No. I think when it comes to the passport bro movement, or just in general, anyone that's traveling, you got to have like clear goals in mind. If you're traveling short term, you got to be honest with yourself. What are you trying to accomplish? Someone that's going to live in a country long term has a totally different goal. They're probably going to look to settle down with somebody, or whatever the case may be. Problem with the passport bro movement is they're not clear on what they're trying to accomplish, and they don't understand where they're going. They don't understand the country they're entering. And I think that's pretty dangerous. You're going to see a lot more people getting hurt in the process of making these simple mistakes of not knowing where they're going and understanding the situation in that country.
Okay. Do you have a YouTube channel, brother? You want to shout out, or anyone you want to?
No, I might set one up in the near future.
Okay. All right. Well, man, Rod, appreciate you being on the show. You know, you're always welcome anytime. Mercy Justice, you got any words you want to shout out? You got a YouTube channel you want to put out there? Mercy Justice.
Sometimes it's off.
Okay. Ronin, you got a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I just want. I was trying to hit my mute button, but all I was gonna say is that it's a great show. I would say to all the passport bros, everybody that's traveling, just be careful, man. Just be careful. Don't do too much, and don't do what you won't do at home. If you're from the city, then use your city sense when you go to these other countries. Right. And that's all you need to do. And don't be just throwing your money out there. Like I know dudes that be throwing money out when they go to these foreign countries. Don't be throwing your money out there to people you don't know and all that type of stuff. You wouldn't do that here in the States, so don't do that. In a country. But that's all I'm saying. Just be safe.
Right.
Appreciate you, brother. You got a YouTube? You said you don't have a YouTube channel, right? Or Instagram?
No, I have a YouTube channel. No.
Okay. Ronin, do you have a YouTube?
You already know my YouTube channel, but anyway, I'm going to read this poll real quick. My poll said, "Who is causing the most damage in the travel space?" And I gave passport bros at 8%, content creators at 21%, YouTube pookies 46%, and YouTube mongers is 25%. So the majority, they're saying, is between the pookies and the mongers.
Okay, I'm gonna read mine too in a few.
Yep.
Just hold on tight. Passport Blueprint, you got a YouTube channel, you got social media, anything you want to shout out? Let people know who you are and where they
I have this channel, and then I just started a new one, which is called Passport Venturer. That just started about a week ago. If you can subscribe to that, that'll be great. Basically, I just want to say, you guys moving overseas, it's not fun. It's a lot more challenging than you think, and you got to have a clear goal, like Rod had said, moving overseas, because it's a whole different culture, a whole different environment with a lot of biases towards Americans, and you really have to be careful. People you deal with in particular countries may have it out for you because they see you as an easy lick because you're American or you're a Westerner, you are money, and they will use their scams to get at you, and they don't care about your safety. All right. And if your mindset is on just going over there for pros and you just want to be in that country just to mess with pros, thanks Xing Shang for putting that up. That's my new channel, Passport Ventures. Travel hacks.
You guys go ahead and subscribe to Passport Ventures.
Yeah. Going to a different country is a different environment, different rules, and trust me, they ain't gonna bow down to you because you have that blue passport. All right, you're in someone else's backyard, so
okay,
it's not a pleasant thing, guys. I lived in Israel, and I'm speaking from experience because I lived in Israel. It's a different environment. 3 years in Israel, it's very difficult, and my dangers I had to deal with was Hamas launching rockets into Israel and me running into shelters and doing all that type of stuff. So my dangers were a lot different than yours. I had to deal with terrorism. So
it's coming from the veteran himself, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is not me. We have no military bases over in Israel, and I was a civilian at that point. So my dangers were a lot more different than you guys. I'm telling you, If you don't know the language, if you ain't done your research, moving to these countries, you better do that before you even leave, and you better do some serious soul searching on why you're going down there. If you're going down there for women and all that messing around, stay your ass home.
Got you.
Because you're gonna
Passport.
fail. And I'll lay my plane there, brother.
All right. I appreciate you, Passport Blueprint. And those of y'all who know me, I'm the Andrew Show. Go ahead and get those likes up, subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook. Link is in the description below. All that good stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like this. I'm glad that the brother's safe and he's home, and he's just being low key. Sometimes we all need a reset as content creators to readjust ourselves. God knows I've been through it, so it is what it is. But I'm glad that he's safe. Anyways, guys, before I do shut down, let me read the polls here because it says okay. Well, I put down here who doing the wrong in the travel space. Is it YouTube content creators, passport bros, or passport pookies? 19% of people said it's YouTube content creators, 10% of people said it's passport bros, and 67% people said passport pookies. So passport pookies are infiltrating the travel space, and pretty much the asses need to go. Anyways, guys, thank you all for joining the show. Make sure you guys go ahead and get those likes up, subscribe to the channel, and all the good rest. Happy travels. Let me just read one more. Okay, I see you over there, Shing Shang. Putting up the links in the description. Pay ATT. What's that? To what's going on? Pay attention. I believe it was saying abbreviation. To what's going on between U.S. and Mexico and the cartels. Things are heating up in U.S., making a list of Mexi politicians sure to have reverbs throughout Latin America. Well, I guess we have to go ahead and see what happens. Anyways, guys, make sure you guys go ahead and get those likes up, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. You rocking with the Andrew Show, and we'll see you in the next one. Yeah, man. Peace, love, electricity, degrees, all that good stuff. I'm out of here.
The Andrew Show. The Andrew Show.